Oh shit, where'd it go? Here it is.
In the twilight hour, the gavel's down. Hear the tilted lawyer in velvet gown. Whispers of law beneath the moon's sweet glow. He's here to guide you through the undertow. From tales of love lost and battles won, to secrets that hide when the day is done. He'll paint the night with stories so stark. Welcome to Family Law After Dark. Light up that cigar and pour a glass of red, as we wade through matters not often said, where hearts and minds often leave a mark. Dive deep into Family Law After Dark. The lawyer's voice smooth like leather, piecing lies only he can tether. In the sultry jazz lounge, let the wisdom flow. Feel the rhythm in the late night glow. Through custody tangles and alimony strife, he navigates the drama of everyday life. With a wry wink and a cheeky remark, let's unravel Family Law After Dark. Light up that cigar and pour a glass of red, as we wade through matters not often said, where hearts and minds often leave a mark. Dive deep into Family Law After Dark. Light up that cigar and pour a glass of red, as we wade through matters not often said, where hearts and minds often leave a mark. Dive deep into Family Law After Dark.
It's showtime, bitches. Let's do this. Hey, so just to follow up from last show, I wanted to point out some observations with Bruce in particular. So on the last Vlad that we did, Bruce had secured the following comment from South Florida Thrifter.
Oh, no.
She says, wow, Bruce is so logical and mature. That's an excellent way to think about with someone. Are you more comfy alone versus with that person? Darn you for not being around when I was dating. Bruce, you jerk. Giggles. And she says, I'm being self-aware, passive-aggressive, LOL, in parentheses.
It started out okay, but you read that username at first, and I was like, there's no way that's it.
I was like, I don't know, man. This Bruce is he's a securing interest from, well, potential mates.
I get lots of comments about Bruce's voice. Like, all the ladies are commenting on my videos now. Bruce has such a nice voice. Bruce has such a nice
he's got
voice.
like an audiobook type of voice.
Ladies and gentlemen.
People tell me that my voice would be good as an audiobook, but I disagree. Jesus Christ, Brad, Bruce. Oh, the safe word, by the way, is octopus, if in case anybody was wondering.
Apparently all of us have the sultry voices.
Word.
What is your safe word?
Safe word. I don't need a safe word. I'm good.
I think, Lauren, is this your first Vlad that you've ever
probably,
done?
Yeah. I think so. I'm pretty sure.
We've had Schnitzel on a bunch. It's been like this regular panel. Hey, Jocelyn texting on her phone, and everybody's looking at you. I want you to know that.
Her mic's not on.
Oh shit, her mic is muted.
Oh, dude,
Hello?
she's
Is
the
it
same.
there?
She's the same mic as me.
Yes.
That's the
Nobody
microphone
knows.
I have. Wait.
Yeah, she's the youngest here. We have an excellent panel. Lauren reminds me so much of one of my best friends in high school. She was a lesbian. And she was
obviously your friend didn't peak. Your friend did not peak in high school. I'm just saying.
This is
I know I started that off wrong. What I'm saying is
You lost
their personalities are exactly the same. She's like this super, like, just don't give a F. She happened to be a lesbian and was very proud of it. And just she taught me a lot of things, not sexually.
Unfortunately. Alrighty then.
You don't say.
I'm just saying, I have a special affinity in my heart for Lauren because of that. As I get like nostalgic and I get the same vibes.
You guys keep in touch by chance?
Oh,
Shit.
oh yeah.
I think she's married. She might. Also, she's like
To a man.
I don't know where in the world she is now. She travels a lot. So, but coincidentally, I think that she had a spell over there in Florida, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, if she was in Florida, then yeah, she had a spell.
Yes, she did.
Perfect time of year to have a spell.
Jocelyn is the baby of the
always
bunch.
such
She's
weird spell.
like 26 years old, on her way to a music festival, and I told her, "You're gonna hate it. Why
In Vegas,
Why? Why would you?" Oh, these music festivals are for younger folks who don't know any better. For one, it is not the
though.
way.
Like,
I'm gonna take advantage of that.
She can still go to music festivals. She's not our age yet.
Yeah.
I mean,
We can't go. She can go.
Exactly.
well, if we went, we'd just be wouldn't we just get the VIP booths? That's what I was telling her. Look, if I'm gonna go to Vegas and I'm going to a club, I'm not gonna look, I'm gonna get a booth. I'm gonna get bottle service. We're gonna have our own sectioned off space so that everybody could dance safely without fear of getting like roofied or like felt
I
upon
can't
by
afford that.
Are you paying for this, Omar? Because if you are, I will go.
It's an invite. It's
I
an
always
invite.
do. So, Bruce, the getting more famous by the day, the soulful, sultry voice of Bruce from Oregon with the antlers, to the extent that he uses antlers as a reference to phalluses.
I never said that.
I was about to say, what?
In my mind, that's where I thought you were going with it, and then of course we got the schnitzel, the world beloved schnitzel with this.
Oh, I don't think it's world beloved, but you know.
Well, it's world beloved in my world, so how about that?
Well, thanks.
We're in the world.
Yeah, in the universe of the Tilted Lawyer, she is the beloved schnitzel.
Well,
And so,
thanks.
and Brad, the EDM fiend,
The funny thing
indulging
is
in mosh pits and various things.
everyone likes to say world famous because everything is supposedly, famous in that. Like we've got a German town up here and they have the world famous chicken dinner. And it's like, is it really world famous? It really
It's the
doesn't
cliche
seem-
of cliches in
Yeah.
a four-dimensional world, in a four-dimensional universe. You could be whatever you want to be. So, with that said, why don't we jump into? Oh, so there was that comment. There was another. I wanted to follow up with another comment. So you guys remember that one hypothetical that we were talking about, where the lady wanted to dip out because she didn't want to have kids. She was not going to take primary custody. Remember we were talking about that case?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we got the following comment, and I wanted to address it for 30 seconds. So this comment was, so just a few moments earlier, the team discussed how difficult it is to nurse and tend to a newborn in the first few months of life. And the mother is going through so many changes and thinking about how life is different now and how hard the adjustment is. This is why the next story you discussed about case of mother vanishing for a year, it's because of that reality check and all the internal and mental changes. It's time for a woman's brain to readjust, guys. Have more grace, please. To which, look, this might be a hot take, to which I say bullshit to all of that. First of all, the grace is not mine to give. That belongs to her immediate family and the child that's inevitably going to be growing up with a mother that didn't want to be the primary parent, whatever that means. She chose to dip out, and this society is so harsh on men that do the same thing, and they judge them accordingly. Why would a woman not be judged the same way? Postpartum or not, everybody gets depressed to certain degrees. If your response to that is to flee, then whatever grace I might conjure is not for me to give. It's for others to give. And so it's not that I don't recognize that women have it hard with postpartum depression and all that. I have spent countless hours talking about how that is a thing when couples have babies. It is a real medical condition, psychological condition that affects families. But if your response is that you're just going to dip out on the family because it's too hard, then hey, What do you want me to say to that? You want me to have grace for that? I can't. Just not mine to give. And so, however society judges you is fair game. But if you stay in it and you acknowledge that in the course of raising your child, you're dealing with all of these difficulties, then yeah, sure, I have all the empathy in the world because I'm a dad. I think all of us are parents except for Jocelyn. Well, and Lauren probably, I think.
No, I don't have kids.
All right. So 4 of the 6 of us. So I don't know. Do you guys co-sign on that, or is that another hot take of mine?
If I recall correctly, that story, the child was like 18 months to 2 years, so it wasn't even a baby, but not newborn,
right?
Which takes postpartum largely out of the question. It was just a matter of it's this 18-month-year-old is now still relying on me, and this is really hard. Yeah. So it becomes a bigger issue of not just like, I had a baby 3 weeks ago and this is terrible because I have no sleep. This is, I've been in the thick of things for a long time and now I want to deuce out.
Yeah, because you have 18 plus years ahead of you.
My only I'm not here to judge anybody, man. But if you're going to dip out on your kids and just like say, look, this is too hard. I'm coming from a perspective of I was a single dad and I had that happen to me. And so I've done the single parent thing. It was supposed to be like a 50-50 and it turned in, oh, well, she's just going to live with you now. And then look, I'll come around whenever I feel like I'm going to come around. I know what that's like from a male perspective. I can't imagine it's all that different from a female when it happens to her, and it happens a lot. And so I'm not passing judgment. I'm just saying that whatever grace or empathy I have is reserved for those that are sticking to their families and are there for the long haul to raise their kids. If you need to F off to do whatever you got to do, then I'm not going to be the one to judge. Your children will be. And I always tell that to my clients. It's like, look, you think that he's a bad parent, you think she's a bad parent, whatever. She's alienating you. She's talking about this and that. At the end of the day, your children are going to grow up and they're going to have all the information available to them and they will judge you on your merits. And that's going to be based on how you raised your kids. And that's all I really have to say about that issue. And I know that you guys Schnitzel wasn't here when I did that hypo, and neither was Lauren. But just to follow up on that. So should we get started on today's show? I think we should.
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay, so this one is, let me share my screen. And
I do have to leave right at 4 p.m. EST, just so
you got 45 minutes. So we might as well get the good ones out of the way first, right? So this person wants to know, am I the asshole making my son live with his mother, stepdad and 3-step siblings after he verbally abused my husband? So this is a same-sex couple, just for point of context.
That's
and
so
this
gay.
is his story. Totally. So this entire situation is kind of fucked up, and honestly, I'm a bit heartbroken for my husband. Says real names, I don't care. I'm Sean, 37-year-old male. My husband is Zach, 36-year-old male, and my son is 16. I'm not saying his name. All right. I divorced my ex-wife after she cheated on me for the entirety of our marriage, which kind of tracks because it seems to me he might have been gay. So that might have been a valid decision. Go down on a limb. So that was over a decade ago. I don't care anymore. Son is mine, already over and done. I met Zach when I was 28. My son was 7. Me and Zach hit it off instantly. I was finally in a place to start dating again, and thankfully he was the first person I was interested in. We connected on everything me and my ex-wife did, and a million more things. People say life has a plan for you, and honestly, I believe it. I'd go through a million more divorces and being cheated on over and over if I ended up with him every time. We get it. You dig him. One of the big things was my son. Zach was hesitant at first just because of the situation, but he wanted a family badly, and I was excited for him to meet my son. After dating for a year, I talked to my ex and told her I'm introducing our son to a guy I'm seeing. Told her it's serious and I see a future with him. She was happy for me. We have a very good relationship now. Just told me to tell her when I was going to do it so she can be prepared if our son had any questions for her when he visited next. Zach and my son were best friends, did everything together. They played Minecraft together. They spent hours sitting in front of the TV. I loved watching them. I was so fucking happy. The first person I found after my ex was this amazing. Could I just take a brief sidebar? If your partner starts talking about you like that, does it make you how does it make you feel? Good or kind of creeped out? I feel like the silence speaks volumes. It's definitely questionable gauging on the responses. Like, where are we going with this? Like, are we in the realm of stalker ideology, psychology? I don't know, man. All right, so after about 6 months, I asked Zach to move in, and the rest is exactly as I've been describing. Amazing. So my son started calling Zach his other dad when he was 10. Very sweet moment, which makes this hurt worse. Well, last weekend, my son had 3 of his friends over. They were playing video games in his room, and I just left to do grocery shopping for the week. So it was just them and Zach. I don't know how this topic came up, but things got very homophobic. I'm very curious. Lauren, what is the threshold would you consider for being homophobic? I've asked my brother the same question.
I mean,
His
my definition is going to be different.
Yeah. From what I gather from him, his bar is very, very high. Like, he lets a lot of things go. Like, he laughs off a lot of stuff. It has to be very derogatory for him to start feeling that way.
Well, I say things that are more derogatory than most people would say.
Yes, you do.
But my bar's, I feel like my bar is pretty high too. I was lucky though, and it didn't feel like it at the time. And I know I'm kind of like, I'm going to try not to make this tangent too long, but I was, obviously swimming in college, and I had a coach that I went to because I had some teammates who were using some slurs and stuff like that. And he told me just like straight up, he was just like, listen, like, this is something that you're going to have to probably deal with your whole life. And like, yeah, I could tell them to stop or whatever, but you do at some point, they're just words and we have to like let them go. And at the time I thought like, oh my gosh, how dare you like not do anything about it? But as I got older, I've kind of realized like, it's true though. Like, you're going to hear things all the time from all manner of different people, and they don't always necessarily want to be malicious even. It's just like kind of how we grew up and the different words that we've used and the people around us have used and stuff like that. So like there's some merit, I think, to saying like, honestly, you just have to kind of learn how to deal with this. And when you accept that and you kind of, like let yourself be around different types of people who say the different types of things that you might not necessarily want to hear or want to say yourself. It's kind of like you learn where these people are coming from and that they're not necessarily bad people, if that makes any sense at all. Hopefully it did.
No, it does. And especially in the realm of like high school students.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I remember how it was in the 90s. I'm not really sure what it's like now, but I'd imagine that they have choice language that they use. It's just part of being teenagers. And they learn like what's okay and what's not okay. And they learn people's boundaries. And so the kid is learning before I read any more of this is what I'm gathering here. So this is what happens. My husband is sitting on the couch, and I guess my son and his friends thought me and him left, but it was just me. So my son's room is connected to the living room. So if you're sitting in the living room, it's not super hard to hear what's going on in his room if he's being loud enough. 4 teenage boys playing video games. Got it. So one of them said, "How's it feel having a F slur?" I don't know if you can say it here or not. As a father, my son laughed and said, "Kind of shitty." All right, so already we're in the context of, we're not examining this boy's personal, like private thoughts. It's in the context of him. He's sitting there with his friends, and he's, lightweight being bullied, teenage talk, and they're just talking to him a certain kind of way. He's trying to fit in. He doesn't know who he is. He's 16 years old. He has an undeveloped brain. And he's being kind of, not coerced, but like encouraged or being forced to confront that his friends have a position and they have a view, and what does he think about that? And there is definitely a right or a wrong answer before he even opens his mouth. Let's see what he says. They said my husband probably touched him when he was little, and my son replied, "He can try it now, and he'll get his ass beat." So not even being a dick to Zach, but now also threatening him over something we all know he would never do. They kept saying shit like, "Which one do you think takes it in the ass?" Probably the F slur. "At least your real dad still likes women." Just a bunch of hateful stuff. My husband sat there listening to it all, silently crying. Also, Zach has spent a good 4 hours a day at the gym for the last 3 years, so I don't know who's getting their ass beat, but it ain't him. I got home about 2 hours later to my husband sitting in his car with a bag packed, waiting for me so he could leave, but didn't want to leave my son alone. First impressions before I finish this. What do you guys think? Because I'm having a lot of thoughts.
So the kid has been with this guy for over 3 years, because they said he was initially introduced to him at 7. They're now at over 10. So he's been with him for a long time, and he was invited to move in. So this was a long-term relationship. And then now this guy, overhearing one conversation, is now like, "I'm done, I'm leaving."
Yeah.
Well, if he's 16, it's like 7 to 16. It's like 9 years.
But I also think he has a lot of these strong elevated opinions because he witnessed his husband sitting in the car crying to himself, and they're having a moment.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the
Processing.
son really said much, though, to be honest. Like, what could he really have? He didn't expect his friends to say that kind of stuff. So, like, that was just, it seems like kind of a knee-jerk reaction. And
They're
also,
the
I
ones
don't
that
think
brought it
that's really a bad thing that he said. Like, if someone tried to do something shitty to me, I would beat their ass too. You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean they're going to do it. You know, I feel like that was just a reactive statement.
Yeah, look, I mean, I remember high school. I was on the wrestling team. I played baseball. I mean, I had a bunch of male friends, and they talk a certain way. And everything is like a test of it's a test of boundaries as a teenager. Like you're testing your physical limits, your mental limits, and your social limits. And they're oftentimes challenged in a way when you're a teenager that they are never challenged again as an adult. And so here his friends, they're sitting and they have this offhanded comment using the F slur or whatever it was. And they're speaking in a very adolescent way. And this is what, is he going to have like the after school special and say, "How dare you talk about my parents that way? It is socially unacceptable, and you said something offensive. Get out of my house." What do you want him to do in that scenario as a 16-year-old? Look, as a 44-year-old man, I would have certain things to say, but he's 16.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like this is a recurrent conversation either. Like, it sounds like it's something that just came up. Otherwise, that's not something you just say out of the blue if you talk about it all the time. You know what I mean? He's not perfect. Obviously, he's a kid. He's not going to know how to respond to that.
Furthermore, he's being raised by 2 men. He is being exposed to a world that is foreign to most of his friends.
Mhm.
And most of his friends probably grow up, look, toxic masculinity. One of the byproducts of it is that you create very homophobic children that have to learn that, look, the world is not contained by your ready-made idea of the universe. There's lots of variables here, and there's a learning curve with all of that. And teenagers they really suck at it. And so you have this elevated reaction from both of them, really. But I feel like his husband's reaction is what spawned this next response, and I don't even know what it is. But let's see. So Zach and I went inside and went off on my son. Wait, did I skip something?
Zach, the husband, left, and I went inside with my
he
son.
went somewhere.
Yeah, Zach left. I went inside off my son. His friends left, and I spent a good 3 hours going back and forth with my son. At first, he was very unapologetic and kind of agreed with his friends. I asked if he actually thought my husband sexually abused him when he was younger, and he said no, but kids block those kinds of memories out, so who really knows? I told him to pack his shit. He's leaving with his mother. Info. His mom lives 3 hours away, which means new school, new friends, if at all. Less private space, as he'd have to share a room with his stepbrother, etc. Just everything that you'd expect going from a single kid in a house to one of 4. My son instantly changed his attitude. He was crying, begging me not to send him away. He didn't mean it. He was just lying to seem cool to his friends, as we all suspected. I asked why did he double down when they left, and he didn't have an answer. I feel like I have an answer. I told him to pack his shit. He's leaving in the morning. Called my ex. told her the situation, and she agrees he needs something drastic. What he did wasn't okay at all. Look, the benefit of being an adult is that you have experience in learning how to deal with these social situations, and you have more confidence in who you are as a person. You're more convicted in your beliefs, and you're more apt to defend them. As a 16-year-old, I'm not sure you even know what you're supposed to be convicted about. And so you have one world where you spent with your family, another world where you spent at high school with your friends, and he doesn't know like what's the better path because he's 16 and he's trying to make sense of it all. And, you know, he says one thing to his friends, he's trying to justify in his mind what he was saying and trying to not be inconsistent. And he's trying to have a discussion. And I don't know what was said in 3 hours, but I got to imagine there was some kind of intellectual discourse and a lot of in between in there. And at the end of it, I think when he's threatened with moving 3 hours away and changing schools and friends and all of these things, you start to see his real emotions coming out because look, he's been raised by these people for a long time. This is not foreign to him. What's foreign to him is having to explain it to others with the thought that they have to accept this or they don't accept me. When as an adult, it was like, I don't give a shit if you accept it or not. It's who I am. It's my thing. It's my deck of cards. And if you don't like it, then you're not in my circle. What's the big deal? And so he's navigating these two planes of existence. And this is what he's facing now. So fast forward now, and my husband is back, but he cries every night. Am I being toxically masculine when I'd say that guy should probably just grow a pair and get over it?
I mean, that is a huge overreaction. If he's been crying every night for how long now? Like,
Yeah.
Every night? Come on, man.
I mean, that seems like a little bit, honestly. And I know this is, you know, like nobody wants to be like, just get over it. But, you know, you do have to kind of, at some point, we can't just change the whole world to do what we want. You do have to condition yourself to handle the kind of things that you're going to see and hear. Otherwise, you're just going to be miserable all the time. So I feel like you do have to kind of at least like go to therapy if you feel like you can't work through it after however much time. You know what I mean?
Here's a question, Lauren. At what point do you feel that dumping your trauma on others and getting, sympathy over it becomes more or less like an endorphin rush or an addiction?
Well, some people are just wired that way to where that's the kind of like they feel like, and I don't know if it's, you know, because of just their brain chemistry or like how they grew up or whatever, but some people are wired that way to where like letting that kind of stuff out and getting certain reactions and stuff like that, that's what they need. And I think we've all seen that from some people probably at some point or another in our lives. There are people who just like, they need that. And so they do take it a little too far sometimes. And then when they don't get what they need from the other people around them is when they really lash out.
I'll tell you what, man. Do any of you guys have any experience in this realm or something similar to what this kid is experiencing now?
No.
I'll take that as a no.
No.
Okay, so I grew up. My brother was very when we were growing up, my brother was not out of the closet, but it was very obvious which way he was swinging, and so I grew up with that being a thing. And what I've told him in the past is just, gosh, I was such an idiot back then. But I grew up like in this hyper masculine world where I was like a jock. I was on the wrestling team. I was playing baseball. I was always at the gym. I was like, I was doing things and hanging out with other guys. And especially in the 90s, there was a specific way that they talked. And I remember my brother trying to navigate that world. And I would try to take him to the gym with me. And then he wouldn't want to like play basketball with me because he felt like he was just like out of place. And I was like trying to be inclusive of him. And at the same time, like my dad and, what often happens in toxically masculine environments, he was getting ridiculed, not because they were homophobic, but because they thought it was funny. And that was the lingo of the time. And he navigated all of that before he finally came out of the closet. And then when he did, it's like, oh, you're gay? Yeah, no shit. Like we knew that, like I've known that since you were 5. He's like playing with like My Little Ponies and like wearing my mom's high heels and stuff. It was like not a big mystery.
Hey, that shit's still cool, man.
Here's one of the things that I think that the poster is missing. Kids are in school for 8 hours a day. They're hanging out with their friends.
Yes.
In addition to hanging out with friends after school and on the weekends, their social group is a large portion of their personality now that they're in their middle and high school age. and that you're not spending as much time with your parents as you would think. And what this parent is doing to this child is saying that your stability in your social group is now going to be torn apart from you because of your conduct within it. And you're no longer going to see me. You're no longer going to see your social group. Everything about your life is now going to be torn apart because of this one thing. And even the poster doesn't really take it from an analytical perspective. They argue about it for 3 hours, and then he says you're going to get sent off.
It just seems like the worst possible reaction he could have had to his, like, it could have just been, look, there's people who are going to talk a lot of stuff. There's people who are going to say a lot of things about this lifestyle and the way that you've grown up, but you have two men here that are in a loving relationship that love you. And it really hurts to know that you, even if you didn't mean it, would discuss us in a manner like that with your friends. And you have to, gain some self-confidence in where you come from, who's in your social circles, and be willing to defend it. Because if you don't, then you are a person void of personality, void of discipline, void of any kind of honest social interaction, to the point where the first person that attacks you for who you are at your roots, you're going to change who you are for the sake of them, which is something that all 16-year-olds should hear, because it's like a daily battle with them, trying to, my jeans are not cool, or why are you wearing that hoodie every day, or like, why are you doing this? Why they're struggling to find some kind of leaf or branch to grasp onto to define who they are in the universe. Instead, he's having this severe overreaction because his husband is crying about it every day. And at some point, it's like, hey, man, it cannot be the first time that you've heard talk like that. And then it could be like, oh, maybe so. But the fact that it came from him, well, look, you're his dad. You guys are both raising this child. Take some responsibility. Hey, my child got in trouble this week at school because she was calling everybody a shitbag.
That's fantastic.
There's a couple of reactions to that.
I hope you taught her that.
I can't believe you did that. I'm proud of you, but I can't believe you did that. You can't be doing that.
I'm just glad that the teachers got a hold of my wife, because if it was me, it was like, I mean, okay, I guess I'll talk to her, but my wife was like super sad about it. Like, she felt responsible for that. And honestly, it was me, because it might have happened on occasion that I might have called my daughter a shitbag for being funny, or just in the moment. Like, my children talk like that sometimes because they pick up on the language of adults. But there's two possible ways. I could like blame them, or I could blame myself, or try to make them understand boundaries and language and all of those kinds of things. I feel like this kind of falls into that same category in a much more complex arena. And so let me get through the rest of this hypothetical before I drone on for too long.
I bet those other kids were being real shitbags, though.
They might have been. That's exactly what my daughter said. He's like, yeah, Dad, I called him a shitbag because she wouldn't let me take my turn. Like they're playing balls or something. Like he's supposed to throw the ball back and he wouldn't. So I called him a shitbag because it's like, okay, but maybe next time you could call him a chili bag or something. Like, because it doesn't have to be a curse word,
Chili dog.
I'm never eating chili again. Shit.
It's just like, look, man, children they rely on the people that are raising them. And I take full responsibility for my daughter's poor language choices, but I'm also, in a way, very proud that she was using that language to a degree, because I'm a guy and I'm a dad.
And she's using it in the right way.
And she's using it in the proper context. She's autistic. And so I'm just proud of the fact that she's using it in a creative way, in the proper context, and just lets me know that, she's just a normal kid. She's going to be fine. So there's lots of things going on in my brain. I don't give a shit about her using curse words and having it offend her kindergarten teacher. You know what I mean? Yeah. But at the same time, I got to teach her to respect social boundaries. And so I'm proud, but I have to do the parenting thing and, trying to mix the two.
It's a balance.
Well, the trick is you can only teach and enforce those boundaries when the kid is there. This poster has basically gone straight to capital punishment and just removed the kid altogether.
100%. Which, by the way,
that's the problem.
the other day, my girls are fighting with each other, and then like Evelyn's like Oli is not sharing with me, and then she pinched my arm. I was like, well, pinch her back. And she's like, okay. He's like, oh shit, I shouldn't have told you. And she's actively pinching her sister. Oh, they're just, it's hard to be a parent 24/7, man. Sometimes you just get, you know, I have a bad habit of telling my children to get over things. It's like, hey, I scraped my knee. Are you dead? No. Well, then you're going to be fine. It'll be okay. But I also feel like it's important to teach kids that. Like, there's a difference between hurt and injured. There's a difference between things that you should be really upset about or things that you could let slide. It's a careful balance. Maybe I'm not the guy that with all the perfect knowledge of when that is, but it's one of the most important things that parents do with their children is that you spar with them intellectually and physically. Like, one of the best things that you could do with your children is wrestle with them. Let them, like, we will literally put on the boxing gloves and they'll like try to hit me. And like, I'll try to hit them. I mean, not hard, obviously, just like tapping the gloves. But they got to know their physical limits. They got to know that certain things hurt. They got to know that, you know, they got to know physical boundaries is all. And so at this point, this child is 16 years old and he's saying he's in this homophobic crisis brought about by his friends, but exacerbated by his parents. And so where's the middle ground? I could tell you this, that if my wife were to be crying every day because of some shitty thing that our daughter said, there's a certain point that I would tell her, you know what? You just need to get over it.
Just put some
done.
Xanax in her water.
Put some Would you like a mega pints? I could make you a drink.
Honestly, that sounds really pricey. I wouldn't.
I was gonna add that I feel like the biggest mistake was the dad putting emotion into the conversation.
Yes.
I think it should have been just sitting down and having a conversation
Yeah.
without the personal aspect of this linked to the conversation, just talking through it with him. And I agree with like everything everyone else has said about it too.
Has any of you guys had the thing where like your child says, I hate you, I want another parent, I wish I had a different family? Have you guys had that one yet?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, is the move to be like, you know what, you're banished from this house, go live with your cousin? Like, is that the move? Or do
I
we
say,
explain?
sorry you feel that way.
You're banished. Go live with your cousin.
That's the point where you get the cardboard box, put it out on the porch, and I go, okay, well, you can sleep in there for tonight.
hey, I'll give you, here's $5 and go do with it what you will. I mean, look, man, parenting is hard. Your children are going to say shitty things. It's incumbent on the parent to not overreact and to have some sense about them. If you
That's
don't
what
have
you're teaching
sense,
them how to
It's a
respond.
learning
Yes.
opportunity. Yeah.
yes, if you want to have a level-headed child that is not dealing in the extremes, you have to yourself be level-headed.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like that's the move.
Yep.
When I was a kid, I'm thinking about Brad's cardboard box comment. I was like, I'm gonna go away. You guys suck. I'm gonna leave you. And then I had like like one of those mini M&Ms containers that you had like back.
Yep.
I don't know if they still make those or not, but back in like the 2000s, mini M&Ms were cool. Okay. I had one of those and I had filled it with like pocket change. And I was like, I'm gonna like, we were in Orlando 3 hours away, and I was like, I'm gonna get a cab home without you guys with my money in this M&M container.
Do
I
any of
must
you
have been
guys
like
have
7 or something. I don't know.
Dude, I totally have a runaway story. Do any of you guys have interesting runaway stories?
Yeah, it's pretty.
I just got to the
plain.
front yard with like a suitcase. That's it.
I
didn't-
literally, this is my story. I was like 10, I think, 10, 5th grade or something like that. I wrote a runaway letter. I'm leaving this house because everything sucks here. I don't know what I said. You'll never hear from me again. I'm going to start my own life. Whatever I said. I ran away to the Vons, and then I got all the way down the hill, and then I had no money. So I went
As a 10-year-old does.
I went
yeah.
to the Vons and I stole food. I stole like an apple pie or something, or like one of those
Jeez.
like Jello pudding pies. I stole like some
Wait,
bubble
is
gum.
this a store? What is this?
It was a Vons
Vons,
supermarket, like a
yeah.
Kroger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so I went there. I went to the Kmart and I was like looking at the video games and stuff. Like, oh, I think I really need RBI Baseball '93.
Where's your console, dude?
Yeah.
Had a Sega Genesis.
I
And
just
then
want to
it's
know how
like,
you walk into a Kroger and walk out with a pie and have no one stop you. Like,
I went to the bathroom and ate it in the bathroom.
oh.
And then I went to the Kmart across the street, and it was like, this fucking sucks. And then I just started walking back home. And then as I was walking home, I saw my mom drive by, and then she picked me up as I was walking back up the hill, and there was no words. And it was like, was that a good idea, dipshit?
Yeah.
Do you feel better? Are you good now? Are you
Did
good?
you learn yet?
Amazing.
Say, I'm sorry, Mom. I'm hungry. What's for dinner?
I
promise
all I
I'll
got
clean
today
my
was a
room.
pie.
Yeah.
That was my moving ways. But kids are dumb. That's what I was dumb. Kids are dumb. The 16-year-old is not far removed from that. Let me finish this story. Oh, Jesus. So he says, so fast forward now, my husband cries every night. I want my husband and my son to have that strong bond I know they have, and don't want them to throw it away over this. I don't agree with what my son did, but those accusations at minimum can ruin someone's life and at most end it. I'm disgusted with my son. He calls me every day, tells me he misses me, and Zach and wants to come home. I stay strong on the phone, but after I break down and my husband tries to console me, tells me my son can come back and he will leave, but no, I'm not doing that. Jesus, I just don't know what to do.
So he's in this weird ultimatum where he has to pick one or the other people.
You know, when I was dating,
That's
I used to tell my daughter, look, when I was dating, when I was a single parent, I used to tell my daughter, hey, number one, I never brought girls around her. But the one time I did was my wife. And what I told my daughter was, look, if you don't like this one, then you could draw a door and I will kick her ass out of the door and it'll just be you and me. So you tell me if you don't like her. Me and her had been dating for a period of months. I said something to that effect, but it was just like, look, I'm not forcing you to like her. If you don't like her, you can tell me, you know. If she would have told me to stop dating my future wife, it wouldn't have been a question. In a heartbeat, I would have been done, finished. There's no discussion because my priority was my child. And so this idea of you're appeasing your spouse at the cost of your son is foreign to me. I don't know if it's right or wrong. It just feels foreign and it feels wrong. What do you guys think?
There's
It's
something
not right
about
to put this guy in an ultimatum situation.
No.
There's something about this story that feels weird too, because you would imagine that if the kid is 16 and been around this child since 7, that you would have raised this child to be able to process the relationship that they're currently in a different way than having this child say what appeases his friend group. And so I'm starting to feel like he's valuing the poster is valuing the relationship more than the relationship with his
100%.
son, and
Yep.
is no longer being a parent but being a guardian.
What's the difference between being a parent and a guardian?
I think a guardian is the person who ensures the child has the roof over their head and food, but not necessarily spending the time to develop the relationship with the child. You're going through the motions without actually putting the effort in making that connection.
I don't know. Is there just like, is it just weird to me that you're like you just said, does it just feel wrong that you're going to, like Brad said, value this relationship over your 16-year-old son to the point where you're going to disrupt his entire life because of some kind of weird adolescent conversation he had with his friends that was probably exacerbated by peer pressure and stupidity?
I mean, that, in my opinion, is some way to raise someone who's intolerant, is to basically shun them and like ruin
Yep.
their life because
That's the way.
their friends said some bad words. Like, okay.
Look, there's value in adversity, man. You all could like sit down and have a conversation and say, hey, it was really shitty of you to say. You had 2 men over here raising you dutifully and making sure that you're alive and caring for you and making sure that you have everything that you need and loving you. And you talk to us about, to your friends like this. How do you think that makes us feel? Some understanding is in order. And in that course of understanding, in that course of adversity, you build strength and a bond that you wouldn't have otherwise had. Adversity is good, man. Like, these experiences are good, but you don't get the benefit of the adversity if you behave like this. This is just weird.
You're not going to get an immediate reaction. So he talks about this 3-hour conversation. You can say all those things you just said to the kid, and it will have an impact. Even if the kid just sits there and says, I guess so. That's what a 16-year-old will say. You cannot expect a 16-year-old to react as if they've internalized 3 hours of information and suddenly the light bulb goes on. But they will. But it takes time. You can't.
When I was 16 years old, a normal part of my mental fluctuations formula for thought would have included Beavis and Butthead episodes.
Yeah.
MTV, Daria, Nickelodeon.
That's what I'm saying. Your kid will react like that.
Yeah, but it'll stick. It'll stick, and it might affect them. It might not be today, like you said, Brad. It might be years from now, but it will plant a seed, and there's growth to be had from it. So this guy says, I'm discussing my son. He calls me every day, tells me he misses me and Zach. Shouldn't that just be grounds to, all right, come back home? Maybe we all overreacted. Let's just, what are we doing? And wants to come home. I stay strong. I break down. My husband tries to console me. Look, I don't give a shit if this is toxically masculine, but what the fuck? Like, you guys are grown ass adults. You guys are grown men, and you're like crying in each other's arms at the expense of your son because he said something mean to his friends.
But he didn't even say anything mean. Like, I maintain that child did not say anything mean. He just didn't chastise his friends. You know what I mean?
And I agree, and I'm trying to be sensitive to if anybody interprets this as a homophobic situation. I don't.
I mean, just don't hang out around your son's teenage friends and you'll be fine.
It wasn't even conversation meant to be heard by anybody.
No.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I think if anything, this is only going to reinforce the thing that you were trying to go against, which is the homophobic thing, because he said something and it's like, well, then we're just going to cast you aside because you said this thing. And it's like, well, now I'm going to internalize that and make, and that's going to make my feelings even harsher against that.
All right. Well, let's pass a verdict. Is this guy an asshole?
Yes.
Yes. 100%. I think it's unanimous.
Fuck
unanimous. Fuck you.
This guy sucks.
All right, I like that one. I like how definitive that was. I really appreciated that.
It's like reminding me of, like, so at one of the hospitals I used to work at before I worked in the ER, it was just a community mental health hospital, and I had a kids unit too to cover. And some of the kids who were like anywhere from honestly 7 years old to like 17, they would come in and some of them would be like, you look like a boy. Why do you look like a boy? You know what I mean? My response was not to cry and run away. Like, if you're around like people all the time who are like saying things like, oh, it's weird that person has short hair, or it's weird that person has a deep voice, or it's weird that person is gay or whatever, like, and then you meet a gay person and the gay person is like super hypersensitive to everything you're saying and is very judgmental and like, you're a terrible person. Like, what are you going to think about the gay person? It's not going to make it any better. Like,
It's just going to reinforce that.
No, you gotta be, you know, just be yourself, and hopefully they will see like, oh, my parents said this, but this isn't adding up with my impression of this person, because that seems like a nice, normal person. You know what I mean?
100%, man. Look, I mean, what I find from my friends who are gay is that they usually are pretty thick-skinned because they've gone through a lot of ridicule probably when they were younger. And then when they're adults, they have these friends and they're just, look, you're not going to faze them. What, you're going to call them some kind of a slur? It's like, get in line, bitch. Like, what, you think you're going to hurt my feelings? It takes a lot to get under their skin. I just feel like this is like the overreactions. I don't know, man. We've already passed verdicts long ago. Let's move on to another one. This one's more fun. I don't know if it's fun or not, but it's just a different topic. So, all right. So this guy goes on a date. Oh, you're going to feel the toxic masculinity come out on this one. I feel it. Bruce, you're going to be needed. Brad, I'm going to need you to balance me out. I have opinions. Okay.
Well, I might be there with you, so
you may. All right. So guy goes on
we got to share it.
Share your screen.
Good call on that. Let me make sure. I'm getting better at the sharing the screen thing. Am I sharing the right one? Yeah. All right. So, guy says, during our date, I saw my wife dancing with another man and I got mad. Am I the asshole?
Oh man.
Could I just state, if I take my wife out dancing, or if I've ever took anybody out dancing ever in my life, there was like, we were dancing. There was like never a point where like there would be opportunity to dance with somebody else. And if it was, like, it was never a big deal. It just wasn't. It was like, you're going salsa dancing, then go fucking salsa dancing. Like, you might as well get properly lubricated. The big secret that you learn is that nobody cares what you look like when you're dancing. Everybody is trapped in their own self-consciousness and what they look like.
I care a lot about what you look like when you dance somewhere.
But it's cool. Well.
I think this is one of those
situations
that calls for a demonstration.
In my mind, when I'm salsa dancing, I'm straight up fucking Michael Jackson, man. I'm like, I'm doing the moonwalk. I'm not doing the moonwalk ever, but I got my moves, you know? I feel like most of dancing just being confident, man. You just can't be so self-conscious. Nobody gives a shit. If you're doing like the two-step whatever, I can picture Brad. Two-step medium.
I think the thing that intrigues me about this title is he says, I saw my wife dancing with another man, like as if he wasn't supposed to see it. Like, as if it was an accident.
If you're doing it in front of your husband, obviously it's probably innocent, right? Is that where we're going?
It's not a secret.
It's salsa dancing. It's not like club grinding. So.
She was pretty sure he wouldn't find out.
I feel like salsa dancing is more sexual than club grinding.
You think salsa dancing is more sexual?
Have you ever seen salsa dancing?
I don't know. I think it's like fun though. It's got a very fun
It's
vibe.
fun.
But there's a lot more space in the dancing in general than.
I disagree. Here's my hot take.
But
this is a hot take.
Club grinding is very.
It's not subtle at all. It's kind of it's low. I don't want to say it's low class. It's very obvious. There's no subtlety to it.
Yeah.
There's no cat and mouse. Like, here's my ass cheeks, grind into me. Jesus.
Fred has a big personal space bubble.
Yes.
Because I am a big personal guy, but
I don't know. Tell me if you all agree, but I feel like salsa dancing or any kind of line dancing, it's more like this cat and mouse, this communication. Like, you don't even have to be good at it, but like you're trolling around and you're grabbing her arm and you're directing her and you're leading her to dance. It's a way more seductive than just a.
Oh,
hell yeah. Oh, I was getting into it.
I didn't know you had a video of me.
But are they doing that? That's the
Okay,
thing.
they're definitely not doing that unless there's some expert level dancers that they forgot
That's
to
like
mention.
basic level salsa dancing. It's not that difficult
What?
to do. You're just like, shit. Come on, okay, that little
Like,
move that she
picked
did
her
right
up.
there. Oh, he's doing the little twirl. Okay, but you don't gotta do all that. Like, I feel like if you do that with another lady, that's way more sexual than just grinding your penis into her ass cheeks.
No,
I
I'm
don't
going to
know.
disagree with you there.
I mean, this to me doesn't resemble sex to me. So
No.
I think I'm gonna have to
But if you
disagree
have
also.
her okay, maybe I'm in the minority
I
here.
think it's like just very fun. It's a very fun.
What Omar is
dance.
saying is that you're sending all these signals that are more
It's the
subtle
anticipation that
compared
you're
to
building.
grinding. Yeah.
For later. The point is not to do it on the dance floor. The point is to elevate things to a point where you're building to a crescendo that will happen in private.
I think
I'd
if my
assume.
husband wanted to go out and do this, like if we were out together and he wanted to dance with someone else, I'd be like, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
let me
sit
see
back
you.
and get a drink.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Careful! I'm gonna go find your husband.
Fine.
I'll just tell you what, man. I would never salsa dance with another woman like that if my wife was right. It's like, I feel like it's sexual. I feel like
Would you feel
Oh,
the same
boy.
way if I salsa danced with your dad?
no, maybe.
The pause.
I don't know. I had to get the mental image. Like, wait a minute. Under what context?
Oh, we need a GoFundMe to make this
I'd be like, hell yeah, Dad, do that shit.
I'm a little
Gee,
creeped
wait
out
a
by how
minute.
enthusiastic you are about that. Okay?
I don't know. Okay, so these are my general opinions. I'm not the authority on dance, man. I don't effing know. I'm just my opinions from
I think we need
the
the story.
lawyer's
We need
perspective.
the whole story here.
I
We
think it
sure
can be
do.
like, I think it can be sensual, but not have to be sexual.
My point, that's exactly my point. The fact that it's not overtly sexual makes it more sexual than just flat out grinding. You know what I mean? It's the act of building it brick by brick. Like you start from a place and you end up over here. Like with grinding, you start here and you end up there, and then it's like, all right, well, now what?
I think if I'm a single guy and I go to a salsa club and I find the girl across there and I'm building this romantic tension to the point where she wants to be able to leave this place with me, there's one thing. But if I find someone at a salsa party and I'm already with someone and I'm just dancing, not intentionally building this romantic atmosphere,
that's
then
fair.
There's not necessarily the same thing.
You're 100% right in that, because there's a difference in like PG salsa dancing and the subtlety building salsa dancing.
But there's no PG grinding.
Yeah,
there's no PG. Okay, if she's grinding on a guy, that's 100%, and we could all agree with that one, right? Because it's just like, what are we doing? Yeah, watch me go grind on some other lady while my wife watches. That's gonna go over.
I mean, I would.
Hey, watch this.
That, yeah.
Boom.
You can't walk out of that one.
There's no subtlety in that. There's not.
I like
even,
how we're 10 minutes in. We haven't even read the post.
Jesus. Hey, for shits and giggles, I think we should have Bruce read, because I feel like I disrupt the reading. I'll tell you what, Bruce, why don't you take the first couple paragraphs and let everybody be enthralled by the.
Before he starts, Schnitzel and I have to go. So
yes, I have to hop off. I might join just to listen, if that's fine with y'all.
Hell yeah. You can do
I'm not okay with
that. Lauren might not be okay with it.
Wow.
She wants another Instacart order sent to her house.
Oh my God, I really do.
Coming right up. Right up.
Lauren, just don't let her buy you any drinks. She's going to put Xanax in them.
I caught through the grapevine that Just Jules is having a sex on the beach. What's the ingredients with that? Why is it called that? It's
that has a lot of ingredients.
Because it gets you super drunk really fast.
Isn't that just like Long Island iced tea?
Long Island?
Long Island.
Oh, jeez.
All right, Schnitzel.
Right.
We're going to miss you, but you will be with us in spirit.
Sounds great with my ears.
I'm playing a tiny violin.
Yeah.
All right, Brad, we love you, man.
Before I go, vodka, peach schnapps, Chambord or creme de cassis, orange juice, cranberry juice with an umbrella.
That sounds disgusting. I do not co-sign.
Yeah.
It tastes like bad
It just tastes
syrup.
like fruit juice. I mean, it's just
with vodka. Yeah.
Fruit juice.
Like bad fruit juice.
I feel like it was a drink invented for date rape purposes. I can't
depends on
co-sign.
how well.
Okay,
they
that's a
make it.
little far.
Yeah.
I think that's a little far.
Anyway,
That's a big stretch.
I'm off to do my walking stream. See you guys.
All right, Brad. Enjoy your walk, sir. Okay. Bruce,
Oh,
would you
ice
like to
eater.
read the first couple of
I will
paragraphs?
be right back. I'm getting some more water.
God damn it, Lauren.
Everybody's abandoning me. All right,
All right,
ladies
I'm
and
with you.
gentlemen,
I'm rooting for you, sir.
it's Moose After Dark Hour.
The date
My wife, My
Bruce.
wife and I went salsa dancing for date night the other night. Something we rarely get to do since having our first baby 18
I'm
months
fully
ago.
creeped out by his voice. Is it my mom? Is it
With
just
no
me?
Feels like
family
a horror
nearby to
story.
help with childcare and babysitters being expensive. It
Mm.
was only our second time going out alone since our child was born.
All right.
We were having a great time, but at one point I went to the washroom. Who calls it a washroom? I guess you can. I
Must
was
be in
gone for
Europe.
no more than 5 minutes. And when I came back, I saw her on the dance floor dancing with another man. I felt it was really disrespectful and got upset. I stood there watching, and when she saw me, I threw my hands up like, what the hell? She just smiled and kept dancing with him. So I walked over, tapped the guy on the shoulder, and he immediately stopped and apologized. Good for him. After he left, my wife got really mad, called me controlling, and spent the rest of the evening sitting at the bar skulking. I told her I thought it was disrespectful to dance with
sulking.
someone else while on a date with me, but she wasn't having it. Am I the asshole?
Could we pause?
Yes.
I feel like if I was in that scenario, I think I would have started dancing with the guy. I think I would have started grinding on him.
Wait,
It's like,
what?
bitch.
If you were this guy?
You want to be a part of this trio? Well, you're going to be on bottom.
Just make it a three-way dance.
Well, if you're grinding on him, that means
Totally.
What?
Yeah, you're the bottom.
How am I-
You're
if I'm-
grinding.
Now, Omar, when
I would grab him
Fabio
by the
or whatever-
waist.
remember
Like,
Fabio the
pow,
guitarist?
pow.
When Fabio the guitarist was dancing with your lady, you were ready to punch him out. Remember?
Oh no, that was different. Okay, so that scenario was distinguishable because it did not involve dancing. The guy
Yeah.
just said he tapped him on the back.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, your girl's coming home with me."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was-
yeah,
that was
was very-
completely different.
Yeah.
This guy stopped dancing and apologized
Immediately,
So very
yeah.
classic.
I have no
Very good.
doubt that he was a classy guy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I might have grinded on him just to show him who was the boss.
Oh no.
I totally wouldn't have. I would not have done that. I'm kidding.
Let's hope not.
I'm just saying that would have
You gotta
been.
go
I
back to the
feel like
washroom.
that would have been the move. Like, oh, you trying to grind on? You trying to dance on my lady? Well, you're gonna come and dance with me. Come over here to Uncle Omar. Sit on my lap. How about grab him by the hips and you know what I mean?
No.
I totally wouldn't. All right.
Insult.
I feel like Bruce doesn't appreciate that move. He would have been like, it would have. I bet you would have probably been somebody like Bruce, and Bruce would have been like, "What the fuck was that about?"
What is
I
happening right now?
I feel
Yeah,
assaulted.
Yep.
Amazing.
Oh,
Also joined again. I don't know if he wants to go on stage or not.
oh, what's up, Schnitzel? Are you back or no?
Hey, I'm just listening.
Oh, she's just
Very
listening.
good. Very good.
All right, let's take her off the stage until she could let us know if she wants to
Yeah.
participate. But oh, by the way, I'm obviously kidding. I would never just grab another guy by the hips and just start thrusting and Jesus, what are we doing? Okay, Bruce, what would you do in this scenario?
Well, here's the thing. These guys went out on a date to go dancing, and they clearly have different internal expectations that they
Yeah.
have not
Yes.
communicated with each other about how they think things should go when you go out on a date and go dancing.
Let me ask you a
Because
question. Let me
if
ask
he
you a
goes to the
different
restroom,
question.
she thinks it's okay to just dance with someone else, which maybe is fine.
What
He does
if?
not. So it's clear they have not communicated properly.
Yeah.
All right, Bruce, but what if Salma Hayek, when your wife goes to the bathroom,
What?
the bathroom, what if your wife goes to the bathroom? Same
Mhm.
scenario, and Salma Hayek asks you to salsa dance,
Hmm. Hmm.
and you're like, "Fuck yeah!" and then you start doing it.
Hmm.
Would you feel any measure of guilt because of some unspoken contract that you might have had with your wife going in?
Dancing. I mean, it depends. So I don't know what these people said to each other before they went on this date. Like, what were their expectations? It seems like they both had different expectations, and you can't read the other person's mind.
Mm-hmm. Like, what was your
Um,
intent?
But
You know.
Now, if you're asking me, like, if my lady goes to the restroom and whoever it was, Salma Hayek asked me to dance, I
Yeah.
probably would dance.
Hell
But
yeah,
when
you
my-
you can't say
but-
no.
But when my wife comes out and taps Salma Hayek on the shoulder, I'm going to start dancing with my wife.
I would dance with them both. Like, fuck it. It's a
Oh.
trio now.
Jeez. That's how
It's
you end
a
up with
party.
fake twins.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Let's get this popping, on and popping. Hey, my VIP section is right over there.
Oh, jeez.
I'm totally
Now,
kidding,
in
man.
salsa dancing, is there a way? Because, like, a lot of times, like, if you go to a wedding
You
and they
can
play
salsa
some
dance with your
disco,
grandma.
you
Yeah.
can dance with 3 or 4 people at once, like at a
Definitely.
wedding,
Yeah,
right?
of
Now, is
course you
salsa
can.
like that, or is salsa not like that? I don't know.
Okay, there's levels to salsa dancing. Not that I'm the salsa dancing expert. I'm totally not. I'm just saying that there's levels to it when you're dancing with a woman that you are sexually attracted to versus when you're dancing with your grandma. Is that fair? I feel like that's a fair statement.
That's fair.
Like, look, there's dancing. Like, are we country line dancing or whatever? Is that what we're doing? Are we like doing like the whole group dance thing, like disco, the 70s, whatever, Donna Summers and all that? Is that what we're doing, or does he have her hand around her waist, cupping her ass while he's like pulling it into him as they're like doing like these spins and twirls and all the stuff, the sexual version? There's levels to this, is all I'm saying. And so I need more information. I need to know what form of salsa dancing was taking place. But I suspect, because he wasn't there and she was voluntarily dancing with him and he had no way of knowing that she was with anybody else, that it was probably not the PG version. I have to assume that, don't I?
But she didn't show any signs of guilt when he saw her. it stated that she just smiled and kept dancing with him.
Exactly. If she
I'm
thought she
thinking
was
that-
doing something wrong,
Yeah.
that would have been the moment.
It would have been different. It would have been if like she had let go immediately and you know.
All right, Justin, let me ask you then. You're with the guy.
Yeah.
He goes to the restroom.
Mm-hmm.
Some guy pulls you into the salsa dancing arena. And he puts his hand around your waist and he starts salsa dancing like a fucking pro and twirling you around. And they're like, woo. And you're doing all of the things and you're having all of the reactions. In his mind, it might be one thing. What is it in your mind?
Well, I just wouldn't like that it was just some random guy coming up to touch me like that. I wouldn't, you know, just for him to come up like, hey, you want to try dancing or something?
But what if it was Aquaman?
Aquaman. And
what if it was like whoever your celebrity crush was?
My date's going to have to let it slide.
Jason Momoa.
Hall pass, bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we had to go to Jason Momoa because nobody knows who Fabio is. Lauren, do you know who Fabio is?
Jason Momoa. No, I don't.
Do I know who Fabio is?
Yeah,
Who's
Fabio?
Fabio?
She totally doesn't.
Do you know Jason Momoa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Could I just get a picture? You know what? You know what? We're gonna do this. This is bullshit that nobody knows who Fabio is.
I tried.
I have to do this, man. I'm gonna stop sharing this screen because I want to share. Oh, Dominic was trying to do it for me because that's what I'm paying for, but it didn't work out. All right, this is Fabio. This is Fabio. This is the guy.
She's beautiful.
So
that's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen.
So the meme was there were these romance novels, what, in the 90s?
90s,
you know how
late 80s,
romance
90s.
novel covers
Oh,
have
yeah,
like
the
a shirtless
covers.
guy with the lady and there's a horse and all that, like a
That
romance
was the guy.
They always look like
airbrushed,
this.
everything's, you know.
Yeah.
And so Fabio was like a model for these you know, romance novel covers.
That was the guy. That was
I'm
that.
supposed to say no? I want to say yes.
You're gonna say yes to Fabio? Okay.
For a dance? Let's go. Let's do it.
What if it was like your husband though? Not just like a first date kind of guy.
Then he definitely should understand.
Hey, you could join in if you want to, but I'm
Yeah.
doing this,
Yeah.
bitch.
Once
I mean,
in a
that's
lifetime kind of
grounds
thing.
that's grounds for divorce of him.
I mean, look at that first picture. Fabio is gonna salsa so hard.
Yeah.
That guy is ridiculously gorgeous, man. I'm 100% a straight guy, but that's a good looking dude, man. If I could
His
grow my
hair's
hair
way
like that,
better
I
than
would
mine.
totally.
Shit.
Shit.
I know, right? He's
The
got better
square
hair
jaw
than
and
Dave
everything,
Neal.
man.
Damn.
You take that back, Bruce.
No.
I will defend Dave Neal on that one. Dave has some great hair, but he doesn't ever show. He's always wearing a hat, man. What's up with that? It's weird because on his Instagram, he's got like this celebrity picture or whatever of like his hair in like a poof. Is that what you call it? Like a poof?
A poof.
I don't know, but it's like sticking up like that, like the way that like the broccoli haired teenagers do nowadays.
Got the tall hair.
All I'm saying is that Fabio is a beautiful man. Before Jason Momoa, there was Fabio. Is all I'm saying. And Jocelyn has already said, "Hey, if that's the guy that wanted to dance, then fuck you. You either join in,
I mean, it's
or
a
you
dance,
can watch.
you
But
know?
something's happening."
It's a quick dance. There's no other intent here. Just to dance with this
Now you say that.
gorgeous man.
Now you say that, but there's a guy. Okay, I'm not talking about me. I'm just saying if there was a guy out there that would grab you by the waist and start twirling around, and it's not PG salsa dancing. It is R-rated salsa dancing with the subtleties built in.
Okay.
Because bitch, you're coming home with me, and you don't have an option. Well, of course you have an option because of rape. But I'm just saying. He's
What
bringing
am I
that
a part
energy.
of right now?
He's bringing that energy.
The guy's really trying to pick her up.
He's trying to pick her up, and he could give a shit about his bitch ass husband, right? Or her bitch ass husband. Or
Oh, we don't know that yet.
I don't know that because he could be fucking like a John Jones for all I know. I'm just saying he's gambling that it's a guy that he could that he could dominate, right? He's playing the alpha male game. So in that scenario, if it's the subtlety dance with the R-rated thing, what would be your reaction in a 5-minute encounter that ends when your husband comes out of the bathroom and is like, "What the fuck?"
Just gonna politely decline like this fun dance. I gotta go. You know.
Okay, but your husband's mad at you now because you were dancing with Fabio.
It's Fabio.
Tell him to put some ice on it. He'll be fine.
Put some ice on. Put some ice on where? What are we talking about?
Whatever
you know what I'm
needs
talking
ice.
Whatever needs ice.
Whatever needs ice. Oh, Jesus Christ. What is the chat saying? I haven't even been looking.
We need to read the last 2 edits to the post.
Oh yeah.
We really do. Stephanie B says, if I didn't know how long my partner was going to be gone and I chose a level-headed guy, I'd go dance respectfully until he came back.
Respectfully, yeah. See, it's about intent.
I'll tell you what.
What do you think about that, Lauren? Steph says she's going to dance.
I better not
than
catch
us.
Steph dancing with Bruce while I'm in the bathroom. That's all I have to say about it.
I'm going to say
I
this.
think she can dance with you, Lauren, and me, but nobody else. How about that?
All right. I'm reasonable. Okay.
I would be cool with my wife dancing with Lauren.
What?
I would be cool.
Have you seen me dance? I'm basically just gonna fall on your wife.
Are you like dancing the R-rated way or the X-rated? What are
Not
we doing?
on purpose. But yeah,
I have given my wife a hall pass for any woman she wants to bring in. I gave her that pass.
Listen, dude, I like you, but not like that.
Oh, boy.
I like your dad like that.
In trouble now.
I had this cold conversation with the wife. Said, hey, if you want to be bi-curious, I support you. It's your endeavors. It was a long time ago. It was a long time ago.
I can't really say anything about that because some people like they really think they're like, oh my gosh, of course you think women are playthings, but I'm just kind of like, no, I'm cool with that. Like if some husband wants to lend his wife to me for a weekend, fine. Like I'm not complaining.
that is harsh language, Lauren. What do you mean lend?
Truth? Like I don't know what you want me to say. Like it's the truth.
I'm divulging too much information. I feel like everybody's gonna be so mad at me.
I mean, I'm sure that she is not going to watch this, so we're fine, right?
Oh, she listens to all of my stuff.
Shit, why?
She gives me shit about everything that I say. It's like, how dare you say that about me? It's like, what did I even say? I'll come home and she's all mad at me. It's like, what did I do?
Okay, well, Omar's wife, if it makes you feel any better, I would never ever try to make a move on you because I'm too interested in Omar's dad.
Wow.
Establish that. Set the record straight.
I just want to be on record. I will set this up. It's like, hey, Dad, Lauren's into it, man. She is DTF. If you got the airfare, she is down.
If some situation ever arises that I meet your father, I'm not gonna be able to speak to him.
I don't think I approved.
That means you would be like my mom. Jesus.
Dude, I didn't say anything about marriage, my guy.
She didn't say anything about marriage.
That's true.
I'm not that kind of gal. Yeah. I'm not marriage material.
Fair enough. What are we doing on the show right now?
I don't know.
Hey, Bruce, could you continue with the
setting up prospects
with the reading of the thing?
You have to share the post.
Oh shit!
We took it away.
Yeah.
How did I get
Or
off
2 edits?
You had the Fabio one.
When you took the script away, you really opened us up to all this shit.
Digress to impress.
All right, so we're gonna start again with. So I stood there watching.
Oh, we gotta read the 3rd paragraph again. Okay.
Yeah, isn't it? Oh, did we already read that one?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, so go to. Okay, so.
Like
oh, jeez, this guy just goes on and on.
All right, go for it, Bruce.
We at least need to read the first edit or 2. Many are saying this is normal for salsa dancing, especially in social halls. In this case, this was not a social dance hall. This guy sounds like David Gingras. People dancing with their partners were not frequently switching partners. It was more of a club setting. So she would have been spotted by herself and approached by a man to dance with her. She did not have to accept the dance, in my opinion. She thinks it was harmless.
Oh.
Well, there you go. She thinks it was harmless.
Yeah.
Could I share my opinion over it? I'm already have an opinion. Could I just share it?
Yeah.
Look,
please.
if this situation were to happen to me, there's only one move.
Divorce.
I'm going to claim back my woman,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to dance, and I'm going to look him in the eye as I claim back my partner,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and then it will be extinguished.
He could have done that because he tapped the guy on the shoulder and the guy apologized. He could have just started dancing right there.
Yeah, what was the big deal, man? It was like, see, the other scenario was like an act of aggression. You slap me on the back saying you're taking home the lady. I feel like those are fighting words. Dominic, do you co-sign on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Bruce was like, I do not condone assaults. It's like, well, Bruce, look, man.
Let's follow the law,
at this
people.
point.
Let's not violate any state, local, or regional laws. Federal
Bruce
law,
is the
I'll
more
give you
mature.
a little leeway, but that's about it.
I did offer the caveat that 20-year-old Omar would have fought. 44-year-old Omar was like,
Yeah. Right.
I'll just find another one, or try to, or go home empty-handed. Whatever? I'll go play Madden. You know, it's not worth. I got too much to lose. That was what Bruce said initially. He's like, hey, I'm not willing to give up my pension for dipshit over here. And then I was like, Bruce, but you got to look at it as if all you owned was like a 1979 Toyota Celica when you were in college, because that was the arena that we were operating under.
I don't think I would have fought anyone in college either.
I mean, I was in the fighting mode because I was on like wrestling team and all. 44-year-old Omar, I'm a lawyer now. I mean, you know, there's those days are long gone. Anyway, so this guy, edit number 2. So I talked to my wife. She has doubled down and said I completely overreacted and needlessly ruined our night. What did he do? What did I miss?
Well, he got all angry and dragged her away from the dance floor, and then they argued about it.
That is
Instead
definitely
of
not
just dancing
the move.
with her. He
And
ruined the
then
night.
She sat at the bar sulking by herself.
I agree with her because there's a way to handle it as a guy. Okay, one of them is to like make a big deal out of it and call her out and be all jealous about it and look like a cuck. The other is to like own the moment and start dancing with the guy, eye contact and all, get the fuck off my lady, and like reclaim the throne. Wouldn't that be the move?
Yeah.
Shouldn't that be the move? If that's not the move, then the other move is to, I guess, do what he did. Bruce, what would you do, man? I'm so curious.
Well, I think
I
when
just want to
he,
know if I'm out of line.
I think when he tapped the guy on the shoulder to sort of like he could have taken over dancing at that point and everything
Yeah.
would have been cool.
Yeah.
To
That
me,
should have
that's the
been the move,
move.
right?
Like not like I wouldn't like dance at the guy to taunt him or anything. Like
What does Crystalline said? Crystalline says, Crystalline Turner. She says, I don't know, my guy wouldn't be okay with it. He's very much heavy on boundaries. But there's an artful way to enforce boundaries to not escalate things. And the move like Bruce is saying, and like I am saying, is fucking dance with the guy. Or just reclaim your girl. What's the big fucking
it sounds
deal?
like she has talked to her boyfriend or husband about that, though. Like they've communicated that.
That's true. Yeah.
So I mean,
That's how a
afterwards.
relationship
It's already
works.
clear-cut.
So it's mutual. I
oh,
get
you mean
that.
Crystal? Okay,
I get
yeah.
that.
Like
But
that's
look-
the whole thing. There was missing communication.
I guess
before
here's
the
my
date
thing.
started.
In any relationship that lasts a lifetime, let's just say, or a course of months or a course of years, a prolonged relationship is always, without fail, going to be challenged by outsiders.
Yeah.
And how you handle it is everything. You can handle it in an insecure way, or you could reclaim your throne. And going back to my discussion last week about being the lion, what would be more beneficial? What would be more beneficial to the flock? If you were able to reclaim your throne in a way that's non-threatening, in a way that's non-confrontational, that's fun, makes everybody laugh, shouldn't that be the move? Now, that's not the way that everybody else could handle it. Some people get really insecure about it, which is what this guy did. He turns out and makes it a whole thing. How dare you dance with somebody else when this is bullshit. And look, now you've created an argument. And he may or may not be wrong, right or wrong in what he's saying. But now he's created a point of contention that cannot be ignored, and which is going to be a source of conflict no matter what happens next. Or he could have laughed it off and like made a fun thing about it, and he didn't. Look, the point is he didn't ask for this. Fully conceded, but he's in it now. Now it's like win or lose, man. What are you gonna do? This is life. You don't always get to pick and choose the variables. The variables choose you. So how are you gonna handle it? What are you gonna do? Lauren, what would you do, man? If you came back and saw your lady dancing with Fabio.
Honestly, I feel like it'd be the other way around. I'd probably be dancing with Fabio. The lady's coming back from the bathroom. And she'd probably be cackling at me because I'd look bad too. So that's my
All right.
life.
You
What
cannot
if it
avoid the
was-
question, Lauren.
But
Yeah,
I
well-
avoid everything. That's who I am.
What if it was fucking
I
Selma
know.
Hayek?
What if it was what?
Selma Hayek. Do you even know who she is?
No, who the fuck are you talking about today?
Oh my
I
god.
don't know
Oh
who
my god.
Selma Hayek
Who was like
is.
the
Wait,
who's
wait,
the
wait. I'm sorry. I
object
thought
of
you
desire?
said Selma something. I thought you
No,
said, I'm
no, no.
pretty sure I know
Selma
who this is.
Hayek.
Hang on, let me
Selma
make sure.
Hayek?
I'm pretty sure I know who this is. Yeah, I do. Okay. Well, then I would just die. And also, I'd be extremely jealous.
What if you came out of the restroom and your date B. Smith was dancing with some other lady?
I would probably just, I shouldn't say what I would do at that point. Wow.
Wow.
Stephanie says,
Isn't that kind of stream, Bruce?
I tried.
well, there's a follow-up. So Crystalline says, I wouldn't want him dancing with another woman either. And Stephanie says, Crystalline, which is perfectly fine and healthy when you're both on the same page and you have the same expectations. These two are opposite. I just feel like it's such a deterrent to a relationship when you make it a big deal, man.
Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal, honestly. If I was
Yeah.
actually like realistically in that situation, I would probably just laugh about it. Like, I don't know.
The learning moment, moving forward.
Yeah.
Let's not do that. Or
I can't imagine that I'm dating anyone who's gonna dance better than I do, so it'd probably just be funny,
I just feel like the move would be to dance with the guys. Like, hey, I'm cutting in. Like, kick your wife off. You want to, and then he's going to be terrified. Like, well, vanquish that threat. And then you start dancing with your lady. How is that not the move? How is that not the move, man? I feel like that's the move. All right, let's go to edit number 2. So I talked to my wife. She's doubled down. We read that part. So sorry, guys, for the information drip. It's hard to type everything. Get out of here. I have always communicated my expectations and boundaries with her. We never had a conversation that included this particular scenario. Would you dance with someone else and follow them to flirt with you if I stepped away for 5 to 10 minutes while we were on a date together? And let me just break the mystery to this guy. You're never going to have an opportunity to discuss every possible scenario that might come up. Life hits you in waves, and it hits you in ways that you don't expect. You can either deal with it or you can't. And if you can't, then you know what? You're at risk of whatever is going to happen to you. And what might happen to you is she might think that you're a bitch. And she might just say, you know what? You're way too insecure for this. And she might think that you're a big ass red flag and decide to move on to some other guy that doesn't have your insecurities. So it would be incumbent on you. It would be in your best interest to work out whatever is going on with you to make you insecure in that situation and work on it. Because it's not like, because she wasn't acting guilty. It's not like she was trying to hide what she was doing. To her, it appears to be a very innocent encounter. So the fact for him to make it like this jealous after school special just seems counterproductive. Am I out of bounds in saying that? Am I allowed to say that without it being a hot take?
I don't have a problem with it.
no, I agree.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
I think. Yeah, I mean, edit 1, edit 2. He sounds like he's trying to be a lawyer or something.
He's being a bit much. What, you're going to litigate like what cheating is to come on, man. It's like I just look, there's artful ways to go about things, or you can litigate it. Anytime you're trying to litigate anything with your spouse, it's always going to be a bad idea. The people that try to litigate things with their spouses are the men and women that get cheated on. I promise you, without fail. I've been doing this for 11 years now. The people that try to litigate who's right or wrong in any given situation are the ones that end up getting divorced. That's what I know. So, edit 3. So my wife chatted again about this tonight. As many of you have suggested, I asked my wife how she would feel if she came back from the bathroom and found me dancing with another woman. Someone I likely asked to dance, since it's less common. Get the fuck out of here. It's less common to have. Lauren, do you often ask men to dance? Jocelyn, do you have, well, I was going to say,
I mean,
I'd imagine Lauren.
yes, I do.
Jocelyn, how often do you ask men to dance?
Not very often, I'll tell you that.
All right, I guess that's kind of fair. Now that I think about it. She admitted she would feel jealous, wouldn't want me to do that. When I pointed out the hypocrisy, she argued that it's different because in her view, accepting a dance is not the same as a man actively seeking out a woman to dance with, which is stupid and a circular argument because she's dancing with a guy seeking out a woman to dance with, and his probably only intention is to find somebody to go home with. Am I wrong in that? Hey, Bruce, how many people have you asked out to dance that you didn't want to sleep with?
Oh boy,
That was not a family
That
member.
is a question.
it's very good you added the family member part. Yeah, you're right. You're not wrong.
Every woman I've ever asked to dance with in my life that was not a family member, there was an ulterior motive because I'm a man. And so that's where he's coming from. And for her to make that argument is ridiculous. But also it falls back into my litigation argument. If you're litigating things with your spouse, there's no win in that. What are you trying to do? And so, all right, I disagree with saying that it's acceptable for her. It should be the same for me. She responded that if I ever did that, it would lead to a major fight and she'd accuse me of cheating. That's ridiculous. But I would say this. If I were dancing with another woman while my wife was there, while she was in the bathroom, it would be the most obviously innocent dance you could possibly imagine. There would be no PG-13. It would be like a line dancing scenario. Like, we're like, oh, is this like the dance of love or whatever? R. Kelly, what are we doing? Are we doing Achy Breaky Heart? What's the song here? You know, it would be like no overt sexual overtones is what I'm saying. It would be completely obvious. Otherwise, I feel like that would be disrespectful. If I were to put my hands on another woman while my wife wasn't present, I feel like I was doing something wrong. But I feel I'm talking about that from a lion's perspective. What do you think, Bruce?
Here's the problem with both of these people in this post. They are judging each other based on each other's actions, and they are only judging themselves based on their intentions.
Bruce from Oregon, 513, the Book of Mormon, or whatever. That is profoundly accurate.
And that's how I read this.
I think that's right. I think that's exactly right. They're judging themselves by their actions, not by their intentions. And that's way more eloquently than I could have summed it up in all of my toxically masculine bullshit. Do you co-sign, Lauren?
Yeah.
Okay. Did Bruce win this hypothetical with that last comment?
I think so.
I feel like there's some pushback there. I feel like my approach would have been better. I would have just started grinding on the guy.
Can we do both?
I mean, you could. I'm just saying that's
saying
not
you
what
can't.
I would do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're wrong for doing it. I'm just saying, personally, I wouldn't do that.
I would have tried to make it like a funny thing while reclaiming the throne and then going home with my lady. I feel like that would have been the move. And I would have tried to make it like a learning experience for everybody. Not a learning experience, but just something that everybody could laugh at.
Yeah.
Have a drink
would have
at,
been okay.
whatever.
You would have been okay.
It would have been fine.
Yeah.
I would not have made it like this whole huge relationship issue that we could talk about this on the way home. Get out of here with that. Why is Silhouette such a 12-year-old? What did I miss? I don't know. Crystalline, which is perfect.
Blame Lauren.
Lauren is a...
Lauren wasn't paying attention. What are we talking about?
All right, so let's verdict to this one. Is this guy the asshole for getting mad at his wife for dancing with another guy?
For blowing it up, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's kind of a dick. All right.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of how that was handled.
All right. All right, this one is very interesting.
It's very diplomatic, Lauren.
I mean...
Hey, Lauren, in your relationships...
Oh, God.
With other women...
Ooh.
Yeah.
How do you guys work out who is to protect who?
Protect from...
Like, if you were to get mugged, who would be the protector?
I mean... I don't think anyone would mug with me around. I mean, I don't know if you've never seen me in public, I don't know how to describe it, but like, you don't approach me. It's weird because like here, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so fun with friends. But like, if you see me out in public, you're not gonna fucking mug me. All right, it's just not gonna happen.
Hey, what weight class are you in, Lauren? I'm so curious. Large bitch.
No, I'm like 5'7". I weigh like 270, so pretty big.
Oh, so yeah. I got you.
I could probably take someone to the ground before they could take off with my wallet.
All right.
So I was maybe me. I guess that's the answer.
You would be the protector.
Yeah, I've never had to have that conversation though. So.
I'm not going to have a third double. I'm refraining from that.
Well,
when I went to Arizona for the first time,
you should have another one.
When I went to Arizona for the first time, I was Dave Neal's bodyguard. When I went to Arizona the second time, Lauren was my bodyguard.
What is your vitals, Bruce?
My what?
your stats. What's your height and weight?
I'm about 6'2". How much do I weigh? Like with clothes or no clothes?
That's a weird fucking question. What are we talking about?
Well, because it's different. Like clothes add like 5 to 10 pounds or something. Or...
Not
yeah, if
even.
you're wearing a weight vest.
Yeah.
Maybe
What?
five,
Trench
maybe
coat.
4 to 5.
What?
With clothes or without clothes? Am I nude?
I mean,
What was that about?
I don't know. Well, there's like a 5 to 10 pound difference.
Negligible.
Oh no. We're doing... Well, now the other guy is grinding on Omar. That's not good.
No, Omar said he would be the one grinding.
I
Oh,
will be
he's
the one
grinding.
Yeah, he
grinding
did
on
mention
everybody.
it. Yeah,
Oh,
one
so the
grinding.
grinding is the person sticking their butt out.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I see.
I meant the
not
opposite of that. What the fuck?
I gotta remember how much I weigh.
It's not how you
That's
said
not
it.
what you said.
Yeah, that's not what you said. This is
Uh,
accurate to what you said you would do.
I
God
weigh about
damn it.
160. Let's go with 160.
All right, 6'2", 160. Dominic is about 6'1", 250 now?
240. Drop down to 240.
Jesus. I'm about 5'10". Well, I'm 220 for no reason. It doesn't make any sense.
I'm 5'3".
I went on a zip line with my wife a couple weeks ago, and I weighed myself. It's like, you're 220, bitch. It's like, get the fuck out of here. I'm 220. Really?
Well, take the
Jesus.
clothes off next time. You'll drop 5 pounds.
That's my argument.
5 to 10 pounds.
Jules wants to know if we're fighting nude. It's like, not in
We
a
are.
perfect world. I'd like to not fight nude
No, we are.
Pass.
because
I'm gonna pass on that
You
one.
That's how we
Like
intimidate.
weeks.
Lauren, that's how we intimidate the enemy.
I'm not intimidated. I just
We just
feel
strip
awkward.
down.
You strip
It's very
down.
awkward.
You're getting mugged. You start stripping down instead.
Jesus.
Exactly. That's how we will defeat the
Hey, give me
muggers.
back my purse.
Yes.
Just like run
We need to
No
get
one's going to
into
want to
this.
take our stuff when we're naked, Lauren. Come on.
That's a
They might
defense
run away
mechanism.
faster.
Like, you all square up and, like, chest to chest and, like, pushing each other, and then one person's already strips all the way down.
So confused.
Let's go, bitch. Fuck that. What are you doing? What is
Like,
going
you're in
on?
some dark parking lot. Some guy walks up to you with a gun, like, "Give me your keys," and then you just start
You start
stripping.
taking off your shirt instead.
And you start doing the helicopter. And it's like,
I don't-
what?
I don't think you would even get shot. I think you would just scare someone.
That's the whole point. Oh my
Psychological warfare.
gosh. And yeah, if you have a pillow, you can start the pillow fight at the same time.
I got 2 right here, buddy. Let's
Oh,
go.
boy.
All right. Let us examine
You always
Oh,
carry them.
no.
You got
You
it.
this
invited me here.
hypothetical.
Just saying.
So this guy's 33, his wife is 30. They were robbed while out on a date.
You got to share the screen.
God damn it. You were completely right. Let me share the screen. Here we go. All right. So me and my wife were out on the town for a date night. We don't go out often. Everything was fine. We had a few drinks, finally decided to walk home. We only live a few blocks from the restaurant we were at and never had any issues in the past. We decided to cut through the park, have a romantic night, walk at night. Well, shortly after we get approached by 2 guys who present what we believe are guns, demanding our phones and wallets. We are totally caught by surprise and freaked out. Hand everything over. They get more elevated and tell us to take off your shirt. And now I'm starting to panic. So obviously, but what the hell am I going to do against a gun? Long story short, I look at my wife and start to take my shirt off. She hesitates, but does the same. Is it 1 or 2 guys over here? I'm trying to get a feel for the landscape here.
It's
They were approached by 2 guys.
Yeah,
2
it's
guys.
2
Okay.
guys.
So 2 against 1. The woman's not going to do anything. No offense to women. But as a guy, I have to assume that. Eventually, me and my wife end up in nothing but our underwear as they take off. We eventually flag down a car and get them to call the police. They give us something to cover up and file a report. Cop is cold and really seems not to care. We assume nothing will come of it. Well, the next day, my wife refuses to talk about it. Obviously, she's upset, and I want to give her space. But today she confronts me, fuming that I didn't protect her. Reasonable or unreasonable, Jocelyn? What do you think?
It's 2 guns,
Dude, yeah.
right?
It explodes into a big fight, but what am I supposed to do? Fight two armed men to save us from walking? I could tell you in good
It's
confidence.
like bring a knife to a gunfight.
Let me just tell you something that I learned from my wrestling coach. Let me tell you something about my wrestling coach. My wrestling coach was state champion in college at the University of Oklahoma back in the 70s. He was the most terrifying man that I ever met. Like, we would wrestle, and I kid you not, when I was like 14, 15, 16 years old, whatever you try to do against this guy, it was like wrestling a brick wall. There's no fucking, like, he would throw me around like I was a girl, like I was a child. There was no fighting this guy. There's no defense. Whatever you try to do, he has the answer. He's stronger than you in every regard. It's like wrestling granite. To this day, I have nightmares about my wrestling coach, wrestling him. Because when I would wrestle him, it's the only time in my life that I actually felt helpless, like a child, when I was not a child. And he would tell me that if you could avoid the fights, better for you. Because one of two things are going to happen. Either they have a weapon or you're going to die, or they're going to have a weapon and they're going to die. And if you could avoid it with nobody getting hurt, then all the better. And if that effing guy would have conceded in the moment, it's not an act of weakness to try to make sure that everybody walks away alive. It's a completely different thing where they pull the guns and it's imminent that they're going to pull the trigger. And then at that point, you got to start making decisions. All right, I'm either going to start wrestling this guy to the ground, get the gun away, because obviously somebody's about to die. That's obviously a real gun. He's cocking the gun at my wife's head. You can't let that happen. And so in the moment of defense, you act, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen because death is imminent. But in a situation where you're not sure and it can be avoided by taking off your clothes and then fucking off with your stuff, then, and everybody gets to live without finding out the answers, that's 100% of the time the move. It doesn't matter how confident you are in your abilities to fight or defend yourself. No matter who you are, Mike Tyson, John Jones, whatever, that's always the move. The known is always better than the unknown. And if it comes to pass that you know that death is imminent, then you act. And then you do what you got to do. But a huge part of self-defense and defending others is making sure that everybody walks away. And in that point, the very easy way to make sure everybody walks away, you want the $20 in my wallet, go for it. You want my credit cards, I'm going to cancel them right away anyway. And you do that and you live to fight another day. This isn't like a sanctioned boxing match. This isn't a sanctioned like wrestling match, MMA fight where there's a winner or a loser, and then you go and train to work on what you were defeated by. It's not that. It's life or death. Mm-hmm. And you choose life and death fights very carefully. So the fact that she, in this scenario, whether or not she thinks that her guy is a wuss or whatever she's thinking, I can, with 100% confidence, spending my life around people that are very experienced in this arena, can say that they would have done exactly the same thing that this guy did. So what's the problem here? Mm-hmm. She's being immature. She's being a bit much, and she needs to reevaluate. She's just not mature enough to know how to think in this scenario. What do you all think?
I think she's being unreasonable, for sure.
I agree. You know what? I'm gonna get a refill. What are we drinking today?
Oh boy.
Whenever this happens, whenever I go on my third double, Bruce becomes the adult in the room.
I think there's a little more nuance. I think she was probably traumatized by this event and doesn't know how to process it or deal with it, so she's taking it out on the guy.
Yeah.
100%, I agree with that.
Like, what would she expect him to do in that scenario?
I think she's been watching a little too much John Wick.
Yeah.
Well, Dominic, as a guy that's like 6'2", 240,
you going against two guns?
what are you gonna do, man?
Yeah.
Like if they look like PB Herman, what are you gonna do? They got two guns on you. What are you gonna do?
Finger on the trigger.
Look, death happens in an instant. If you've never been punched in the face before, you could recover from that. If you've never seen gunshot I used to work at the DA's office. I used to watch these videos all the time. Surveillance where people are literally murdered. And it's just so striking. How you could be sitting there having a conversation. One effing guy pulls up behind him with the gun. Lights out. There is no retort. You're done. It's finished. I don't think that most people have an understanding of how that works because of these movies that they watch. But if your life could end in an instant and you could at all avoid the confrontation, it's not like he was saying, oh yeah, go ahead and rape my wife while I watch as I, have an opportunity to defend, but will not. Unless death is imminent, there is no reason to exacerbate the situation. The goal in any self-defense scenario is always get out alive. That's the objective, however it needs to be accomplished. And so, look, if I was in that scenario, if Dominic was in that scenario, I imagine if Bruce was in that scenario, if Mike Tyson was in that scenario, anybody that has been in this confrontational arena and knows what it means to have your life threatened or understands that a bullet can end your life in a split second, I think that the move is pretty obvious. And the fact that she's reacting, you're probably right, Bruce. It's not a measure of her logically thinking that he should have done more. It's probably more a measure of she's traumatized and she's lashing out and she's got a lot of things on her mind. And so I kind of give her that benefit of the doubt. What do you all think?
I mean, she probably, just wishes something or someone would have been able to do something to change the circumstances. So she's taking it out on him. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Schnitzel is in the chat. What is she talking about? Who was sentenced to 8 years in prison?
She got robbed.
Who was robbed?
Schnitzel.
Schnitzel, you should have jumped in on this one. This would have been perfect for you. Bruce and his oh boys. What is oh boys? Oh, they go, oh boy.
Oh boy.
What about when he's like, ahoy, ahoy, jump on my antlers?
Oh jeez.
Okay,
that's for after the date.
Where is this coming from? The phallic antlers thing, like
Bruce, you gotta explain the antlers to me because he's a big component of the
just antlers, my guy. Like
that makes it worse. About? What do you mean surrealism?
It's open to interpretation. The antlers can be whatever you want them to be.
Okay, but they're obviously phallic symbols. So
to
nobody's not going to think
that's what you want them to be.
My God.
Apparently.
Apparently.
When somebody says, my antlers are ready, what am I supposed to make of that?
Whatever you want, man. That's the beauty of art. You can see whatever you want in it.
I feel like I'm being sexually assaulted in a way.
I think you should probably avoid art museums.
What's up, Schnitzel? You have some experience in this arena? Oh, did she jump in accidentally? I didn't mean to include. Well, she's in the chat. I don't know if she's muted. Well, she was talking about in the chat that somebody.
Can you hear me?
Hey, yes, we can.
Oh, I'm here. Yeah. So if a child is screaming, I'll have to run. But anyway, I'm not going to give any context to that comment.
The antlers?
So.
Oh, your child.
Yeah,
Never mind.
Oh yeah. So I was. It's a whole long story, but I was taking laundry somewhere to do it because I couldn't do it at my place. And it was like a gated community where I was going, and I opened the gate and I felt something next to my side, and there was a guy who had walked past me in the opposite direction. He had his head down. He didn't look friendly. I didn't say hi because he looked like he didn't want to be bothered by anybody. So normally I would have said hi, and it was like maybe 8:30 at night in the winter time, so it was dark out. And anyway, so I feel something by my side and I look down and there's a gun. And I was like, is this fucking really happening right now? And
now, did you have, let me ask you a question. You saw it was a gun. I'm assuming you didn't question that it was a real gun, because some people would be like, what if it was a BB gun? What if it was a water gun? It's like, how the fuck do I know? I'm not going to try to find out.
You're going to try to
exactly.
find out,
Right. Yeah. I just assumed it was real, which I would suggest everyone do. If you find yourself in that situation. And I said something like, are you serious? And he goes, yeah, I'm serious. And yeah, I because I was just like, is this really is this really happening? And so I had my laundry and I had my purse. and I turned away from him and set the laundry down and tried to pull like anything out of my purse that would have been worth anything. And like I grabbed a binder that had like shit in it. It wasn't worth it. It's the only thing I could save, and it wasn't
Yeah.
worth anything. So anyway, then he said, "Is your phone in your bag?" And it wasn't. But I wasn't going to say, "No, it's in my pocket." You know. So I just said, "Yes, it's in my bag." So he takes my bag and then he asked for my code, which in my mind, like looking back on it, I can see, okay, phone code. He's looking for the code to get in my phone, right? But at the time, in the moment, I was like, oh, he wants my like security code for my credit card. He's probably going to like run to the bank. That's just for whatever reason, that's where my mind went in the moment.
Yeah.
And so I said a 3-digit number because at the time I had like my card number memorized. And he was like, "That's not right. It's 4 digits. You only gave me 3." And he said, like, "Give me the fucking code or I'm gonna shoot you in the leg. 3, 2." And he started counting down. And I was like, my card number is 43476900. I like remember the like the there's a child yelling.
You're good.
Anyway, so I then he got like pissed, I guess, and started walking away. And then I was standing there alone thinking, well, what the fuck do I do now? Like, he's walking away. I'm standing like this just happened. So I was like, oh, I guess I'm supposed to call 911. So I pull my phone out, not thinking, well, he turns back and he sees me with my phone. And I just lied to him and told him that my phone was in my bag. And then he turned and he said, "You fucking bitch, you lied to me." And he came back at me quickly, like with the gun pointed at my head. And I thought, if I at least scream, then maybe people will see like or like hear the something's happening, and they'll at least like see it happen, and maybe I'll have a witness. So I
Yeah.
just started screaming. And I've had those dreams before where like you can't speak, like when you're like
Yes.
afraid, like.
Mhm.
And I in that moment I was like, I guess we'll see if I can if I can make any sound. And I did. And like a couple people came out, and then he ran. And so later on, I had to find him in a lineup, which it was just a picture lineup. And I did not choose the right person, but I was thinking, I didn't even look at him in his face because I was like, it's like, I didn't want to make that connection with him. I just kind of stared at his chest the whole time. And also I think I chose like the meanest looking person because it felt like, that's like what I related to. And yeah, and then 2 weeks, I got to see the video of it happening. There was a camera, and it felt like maybe 2 minutes, and it was 30 seconds. In reality,
Yeah.
it felt like time just kind of stood still. But I did tell him, sorry, I know I'm rambling. I did tell him that I said, I want to give you the info, like when he said he was going to shoot me in the leg, I said, I want to give you the information you're asking for, but I'm obviously confused. So if you could please tell me what information you want to know, I'll tell you. And that's when he was like, "No, fuck this," and just kind of like walked away. But
Huh.
I was surprised to like for myself in that moment. It's the fight or flight. I didn't fight and I didn't flight. I was just more like, I was surprised to see how level-headed I was in that moment, and just really being in that moment and saying like, hey, whatever I need to do to get myself out of this situation, let's talk. I'll do it.
Yes.
Just let me know what you need.
It's interesting that you said that, like, you saw it on camera. It was only like 30 seconds. It felt like minutes.
Yes.
Because, like, most of if in a flight or flight response, like, oftentimes, if you were a fighter, time will slow down. And, like, you'll start thinking about decisions like, okay, I'm going to give him this. I'm going to do that. He's going to put his hand right there, and I'm going to make sure that he did this. Whatever. Everything slows down.
And that's
And
very
then,
much what it was like for me.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question. What if your husband was there and it was like, fuck it, take everything, I don't want any trouble, and, tries to give him whatever he's trying to get. Like, would you have a negative opinion about him in that moment for trying to keep you two alive?
Absolutely not. Now, for me, it wouldn't be about sex. It wouldn't be about who's whatever in the relationship. It's about
Yeah.
two humans experiencing this like traumatic event together at the same time. So I agree with people that He's playing a video.
Yeah.
He's playing a video game and needs some help.
Is he losing at Call of Duty? That sounds
Yeah,
like a
that-
Call of Duty
Oh,
crowd.
it's a game called Astrobot. It's like a new game for the
Oh my
PlayStation
God.
5.
You sure he's not playing Fortnite?
100% sure. No.
My daughters are about to get on the Astrobot thing.
Oh, it's so fun. It's really, really fun.
Five.
Anyway, so I'll get to him in just a second. But anyway, yeah, I think I agree with people that she was probably like traumatized, maybe embarrassed, feels like exposed
Little
about
bit.
what happened. And there's in that situation, there's not really anything anyone can do. Like I said, if they're trying to get you in their car or something, or to go somewhere with them, do not do that. That I would say
Yeah.
Yeah.
fight to get away. But what happened to them, I don't blame him for going along with what they were asking for.
Agreed. I think that that kind of puts the required perspective on it. I mean, she's feeling embarrassed. She's feeling violated. I gotta imagine.
Yes.
I mean, that level of violation, she's gonna be pissed off at somebody.
Right. And they did it, I think, just to embarrass them. Because I mean, they took the clothes, but I think also it was like a form of control.
Mm-hmm.
That, and then, well, I forgot if they said that they took their phones along with their clothes.
Mm.
It was like a guaranteed way to make sure that, okay, they don't have anything, so we're gonna have
Oh,
some
I
time to make
see.
a getaway. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So twofold. It probably was some kind of level of humiliation, but also like an insurance policy that they definitely don't have anything on their person, and so
Uh-huh.
let us.
Yes, no, that's a good point.
Hey, I gotta roll because we have a meeting at the end of the workday every day, so I gotta get on that.
Yes. And I'll help
You should
us
just
too.
tell them that it's Friday and I'm not doing it. Fuck that. Just going
Yeah,
flat.
I'll do that if I want to be broke. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, Lauren. Take care. Have
Bye.
a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks
Tell
for
your dad
listening.
hi.
Yep. You're gonna tell him hi.
Yes.
So
So should
thanks
we,
for letting me join.
Yeah.
See ya.
Hey, you could go whenever you want, Schnitzel. We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
I
think so.
Are we making a verdict that she is kind of the asshole here?
Yeah.
Or is she insulated by the fact that it was a traumatic experience and we should maybe give her some empathy?
Some grace for the
Mhm.
situation.
Yeah, I think he's not an asshole.
Well, he didn't do
That's
anything
his
wrong.
question. Yeah.
There's nothing he did wrong.
So I think the real question here is more: did he do anything wrong? And I think the answer is no.
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't. And so for that, I think we're gonna say that we're gonna call that one I don't know what we're gonna call it, but he's not an asshole. I understand why she's mad, but I think she should get over it. To the extent that she continues to hold it against him, then she would be the asshole then. That's my official verdict. All right. I got gosh, we've been going for an hour 51. We'll do one more. Do you guys want to do the one where the lady is mad because her husband trash talks him, or do you want to do the one whereby is she the asshole for telling her husband that if he doesn't rejoin the church, that's grounds for divorce? What do you think?
I gotta leave in 5 minutes, so that's all on you guys.
Well, and I'm going to, you know what? Well, we will do this one, the trash talk one. We'll do the trash talk one. We'll save the religious one for after. All right, this is it. It's just me and Bruce probably. Jocelyn's got another 5 minutes because she's gonna F off to Vegas to an uncomfortable music festival. Good luck with that. Make sure you
Fun.
find a space near
It'd be great.
porta
On a good
potty.
couch. I don't know.
Sleeping bags.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
Do they have couches at music festival? I wouldn't want to sleep on it if they did. Jesus.
I'm not sleeping at the festival. No.
I would hope not. You need to keep your wits about you, young lady.
Yeah.
All right. So, this lady, so I'm 32 years old. Been married to my husband for about 5 years. We have a son together.
Oh, you got to share the text.
Yeah.
Once again, putting the cart before the horse. Here we go. All right. So, I have another child from a previous relationship. I thought our marriage was mostly okay, like not perfect, but whose is? We have our challenges like any other couple. I never thought anything major was wrong, but recently something happened that's been eating at me. A few weeks ago, we had some of his friends over for a barbecue, and after everyone left, I noticed his phone was left on the kitchen counter. Normally, I wouldn't even touch it, but a notification from his group chat popped up, and I saw my name. I didn't know why I did it, but I opened it. Because she's nosy. I guess some part of me wanted to know what was being said. Well, it was worse than I could have imagined. He was trash talking me to his friends, saying stuff like, I never should have married her. It was a mistake. And I feel trapped. She basically useless and I have to do everything. He even said the only reason he married me was because he felt he had no choice after I got pregnant with our son. That's rough. Yikes. What if you saw that in your whoever's whoever you're dating, you saw that in their text messages? What would your response be to that? Is there any saving grace whatsoever?
Oh,
Even if it wasn't even meant for you, but Jesus, you're thinking all of that?
yeah.
Jesus.
How do you come back from that?
Bruce, have you ever said anything about that?
Terrible.
About somebody that you wanted to date?
What?
Like, would you say would you say anything like that to your friends for somebody that you actually wanted to be with, as opposed to somebody you were trying to get broken up from?
No, this is somebody who feels trapped in the relationship and is just dealing with it by doing this trash talk in the group chat.
32 and 34. Been together for 5 years. All right. So I felt like someone punched me in the gut. Like I never thought he would talk about me like that to anyone, let alone his friends. These are people I see regularly. Yikes. And the whole time they've been hearing him say, I'm a burden, or that our marriage was a mistake. When I confronted him about it, he said it was just guy talk. Like hell it was. That's not guy talk.
No.
And that I shouldn't take it so personally. He said all guys vent about their wives and that it wasn't serious. But how can I not take it personally? He said our whole marriage was a mistake. I gotta say, whenever I talk about my wife or anybody, or my wife with anybody, it's never anything negative about her because it's nobody else's business. Like I would never say anything negative about her like that. Like, oh, it was a mistake. She's useless. She's all this. She's that. It's always like some positive whatever, some, something. Maybe I might joke about, oh, I got a curfew. I got to get home, whatever. But it's never anything negative like that. I don't know.
It's
what do you
very
think,
easy
Bruce?
to tell the jokes from reality.
Yeah.
Like, if you're like, oh, she's going to make me do all the dishes after we do that, it's just a
Like,
joke.
how could
But
she,
this
you
is
know?
more not a joke.
100%. It's like one thing to say, oh, I'm going to go home. I bet my wife, she said she's making enchiladas. I bet she put fucking bell peppers in the enchiladas.
Oh,
That's
boy.
like
We know about that.
That is more of a joke. That is not
What
like a shot.
Rhyme.
So different from I want to leave my wife and I should have never married her.
When I took that position, about the bell peppers and the enchiladas, there was such a visceral reaction against my position. It's like, well, fine, I guess. Whatever, bell peppers and the enchiladas then. I'm just saying, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Jocelyn, enchiladas, bell peppers, do they go together?
It doesn't matter. I answered this last time. I'm eating whatever's in front of me. If
She did say that.
If somebody cooked different, I'm eating it.
She's also
Fine.
26, and she don't know any better. So it's like, look, there's nothing wrong with that. You can call them fajitas. That's basically what they are. It's just, I was
They're good.
wrong when I said that. If your wife makes you that, you should just be grateful and STFU. Are we going to co-sign on that? Okay.
Exactly.
Anyway, it's not just guy talk. So she can't stop thinking about it. I feel like I've been living a lie, like maybe he never really loved me at all. He keeps telling me to let it go and I'm overreacting, but I don't know how to move past this. I'm seriously considering divorce. That's a bit much. Should we consider divorce on those grounds?
Well, he said the marriage is a mistake. Is that something he wants?
She should talk with him about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, just her finding that is not grounds. What do you think, Bruce?
This is tough because he's sort of denying all of these feelings. So it's hard to come to a good conclusion of what to do next.
It's in his mind
Because
somewhere
you,
that
you have these two contradictory pieces of evidence here, and which one is correct? I don't know
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet.
Well, he's trying to tell her that she's overreacting. You could call that gaslighting, you can call it whatever you want. Whatever you want. But he could have very easily said, yeah, I feel like this has been a mistake, and these are the issues that I have in this marriage. Either we're going to fix it or we're not. But he's like, oh, no, you're making too much of it. It was just guy talk. That's not what guy talk looks like. That's not what
I
locker room
was
talk
just
looks
gonna
like.
ask, is that guy talk? Is that normalized?
Dominic, have you ever talked about a lady like that in guy talk? I don't even know what that means. I know what it means, but like, Dominic, did you ever play sports?
Yep, baseball my whole life.
In the baseball locker room, would you all ever talk about ladies like that?
We would talk about ladies,
but not in that way, right? You talk about ladies that you wanted to bang, not that you were currently dating that like putting bell peppers
I know
in
what
the
he meant.
enchiladas. You know what I mean? Guy talk is that. It's not this. Is my point.
Yeah.
So her question is, do all guys talk like this? No, they don't. Am I just being too sensitive? No, you're not. That's a serious indictment.
Guy talk
on
would
your
be like,
relationship.
my wife made me do the dishes. And then some other guy would be like, I'd let her make me do the dishes. You know, like it'd just be dumb.
An example of guy talk would be like, God damn it, since my wife had the kid, I can't, my son gets more titty than I do.
Exactly.
Literally something word for word my wrestling coach said. It stuck with me all these years. It's like, wow, that's deep.
Like you can tell when it's a joke.
It's guy talk though, you know, you can tell. It's like it's supposed to be funny. There's supposed to be like non-serious consequences with it. Like you just talk shit, but it's like in a respectful way. You know what I mean? But that would be the perfect example of guy talk.
So not this.
But not this. This is like stuff you tell your psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Stuff you tell like your closest confidants. If he's sharing that kind of stuff to like family. Look, if I had beef with my wife, I would not tell my family about it. Because I would expect that whatever it is, I could deal with it with her. Unless it was like something really serious. For example, that would lead to a divorce. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because at that point, it's like, all right, this isn't going to work out. And so divorce, fuck that. I got to make arrangements. But if he's saying this to like just his people that she knows, that's deep, man. That's I mean, even when I was a kid, that would have been like a red flag. I don't know. Am I wrong in that, Bruce?
No. I mean, and here's the thing with this kind of story, I can predict that everybody on the Reddit comments are going to be like, you have to go get divorced right away. Like that's the knee-jerk Reddit reaction.
Well, let's read some of the Reddit comments. So considering divorce is a valid response to discovering that someone you love feels this way about you. What does that even comment mean?
It just means considering divorce.
Go break up.
Let me find a better comment. There's like what the fuck was that?
I don't know if there's better comments.
Let us not divulge into Reddit. Reddit okay, she says, this person says, I'm so sorry, you deserve better. It's not normal for someone to trash their spouse. It shows a complete and utter lack of respect for you. Yeah, I agree with that. I also assume that none of it is true. I mean, it may be true. Maybe she's a dumbass. Maybe she's just like immature. Maybe she has no home training skills. Maybe she doesn't know how to cook. Maybe she doesn't clean. Maybe she's a slob. Yeah, all of these things could be true. But the fact that he's like talking about it with his people that she knows is the violation here. So to answer her question, no, she's not the asshole for wanting to divorce or feeling like she wants to divorce her husband for that. That would, I mean, gosh, Bruce, how would you feel if your wife was like, fucking Bruce, man, doesn't mow the lawn, lazy, good for nothing, piece of shit, can't cook for shit, can't do, take out the trash.
Oh man,
I didn't 30 seconds and done.
Oh, well, as you know, as a litigant, I would make a spreadsheet and I would enumerate all the things I did. Of course, that's no good.
Let us count the ways because I disagree.
I think the problem here is it goes back to trust is hard to gain and easy to lose. And there was a lot of trust lost here right now in this story.
Internal wars between spouses should remain internal. The second that you make them external, I should give you my card. You're gonna be needing me soon. That's how
in California.
I gotta go.
Yeah, Jocelyn has to go. We're gonna wrap up the show pretty soon, like in the next minute or so. Jocelyn, be safe out there.
Yeah.
Watch your drinks. I'm serious. All right. I'm being the dad over here. It's like
safety first.
Yeah, she's going to one of these music festivals, and I get like a really dad-like. Just be careful, don't get raped, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So to finish up on this, I can tell you in good confidence, I've been in many locker rooms. Nobody talks like this about their girlfriend/wife ever, because locker room talk is meant to be funny. This isn't funny. That's not funny. There's no humor in that.
Or if they do, they're already mentally out of the relationship and they're just sort of physically trapped in it, or they think they're trapped in it.
Yeah, I mean, I could see a situation where Clayton Eckerd would have locker room talk about Laura Owens in a situation that has already been obliterated.
Well, they're not married.
Right, but it was like a thing, like imaginary twins and like a pregnancy through oral copulation.
Right.
And whatever else. You know? I could see locker room talk stemming from that, but that's an already dead thing.
That's not a 5-year marriage.
No, man. And so I think 100%. That the takeaway here is that if it is in a current relationship that nobody knows is over, and he's talking like that about you, the people that are in your circle, that is a sign that if you're not headed for divorce already, you're going to get a message pretty soon. And it's a pretty good bet to make that he might have already consulted with a family law attorney. And it's a pretty good assumption to make that you guys are on the inevitable road to divorce. And so, no, she's not making up things. Do not let him gaslight you into thinking you guys have real issues. If you really want to save the marriage, what do you think the move would be, Bruce?
Oh man, this is real tough.
Like, I
don't know if there's some sort of therapy or something, because I don't think they're going to get anywhere on their own just talking about it, because he's just going to be defensive.
Could I tell you the male equivalent of what she heard? The male equivalent of what she heard was, my husband is good for nothing. He has a little dick. He lasts for 30 seconds. He can't please me ever. And he's just good for nothing. I deserve better. Basically what she said about him. If you were to hear that from her perspective, what would be your opinion of that? Now what?
Big trouble.
I guarantee you that is the male equivalent of what she heard. What she heard is she's good for nothing. Let us go back. I never should have married her. It was a mistake. I feel trapped. She's basically useless. I have to do everything. He's insulting her intelligence. He's insulting her contribution. He's not acknowledging what her value is whatsoever. I want you to think about that in terms of male dumb, and the equivalent of what would the male equivalent of that be? What would you think? What would you say?
I mean, I think it could go either way. I think all these statements could apply to either side.
You're true. That's true. That's true, and that's fair. I'd like to point out that I'm probably 0.15. So,
oh geez,
I'm probably not that high. It's probably like 0.13. Who's counting?
No driving for you, sir.
No, I'll be in the office for another few hours. I got to do payroll and stuff. I'll just say this, man. She is not the asshole here. There is real
correct.
Issues with her marriage, and I should probably give her my card. Do they have children?
Yes. They have a son together, and she has a child from a previous relationship.
Oh boy.
So he's probably feeling very attached to their situation and feels like, sort of the sunk cost fallacy, or it's hard to get out of a situation once you're in it. That doesn't change that's where his mindset is, and that's the problem.
How is YouTube rejecting one of my comments? I just put a comment in my own stream, and it says YouTube rejected your comment. This usually means they think it's spam. I'm the fucking content creator. What are you doing? I literally said, should we do one more?
I see that comment on my side. I don't know if
see it.
I don't know if everybody else sees it.
You're seeing the Twitch, that's why.
Oh, you're seeing it on. Are you on Twitch or YouTube?
No, he's in StreamYard, but he's looking at the Twitch comment.
Oh yeah, that's a Twitch comment, not a YouTube comment.
I got it. You want to do one more, Bruce? What do you think?
I'm down.
It's just you and me. What the fuck else are we? You're retired.
Yeah.
I gotta stay here to sober up anyway. What else
am I
gonna
work to do? Yeah.
I just closed the thing that I was about to open. Let me go into my history and trash talks. The church one. The church one. All right, let me share my screen with this. Okay, Bruce, are you religious?
No.
You don't strike me as a religious man. You strike me as an agnostic.
That's probably valid.
Well, you're in good company, sir. I'm also.
Well, I mean, if you want to get into the semantics of agnostic versus atheist,
I'm down. Let's get into the semantics. It's just you and me. Why not? What do you consider agnostic versus atheist?
so
Is
my
that the
understanding is
discussion?
that when you're talking about Gnosticism or agnosticism, you're talking about what you know,
Yeah.
okay,
Which is I know
in
nothing.
terms of a claim you can make.
Yeah.
When you're talking about
Um.
theism or atheism, you're talking about whether you believe something or not.
Yeah.
So you can
And
make a claim that you know something, or you can make a claim that you don't know something, and at the same time, you can make a separate claim that's orthogonal about whether or not you believe something or not. So, for
orthogonal.
example, if you tell me you have $5 in your wallet, I will say I believe you because that's a fairly mundane claim. Lots of people have $5 in their wallet. Do I know that you have $5 in your wallet? Until I check, I don't. Okay. So,
What are
when
you
you're
smoking nowadays, Bruce?
what?
Well, you sent me a text the other day on
Oh,
Sunday, I
yeah.
think it was. You're smoking a nub.
All of the nubs, yeah.
What is
I
in
got
your
the
humidor, sir?
sampler pack. That's what's in there.
Nubs?
Yeah.
How do
I
you
got
like them nubs, man? I
They're
smoked
good.
a couple of those nubs like 5 years ago.
hmm
And then it's like, this is like a 3-inch cigar. What am I doing?
Well, they
Rather just
last a
smoke a
while.
Camacho. They do. They're like, it's like a 60-minute smoke. Would you say about?
Maybe.
See, the problem that I have that you don't have is that I got a wife and kids
Mhm.
that are offended by the cigar smell.
Yeah.
So I can't just watch the Raider game to a cigar,
Oh,
which would be the way to watch it because the Raiders are terrible.
yeah. Well, you got to go outside.
Yeah, well, my initial idea was to get like to build my man cave and put like smoke filters in it, and like do the whole thing, but
Some
it
people
just,
do
it's
that.
just it wasn't going to be the same, man. It just wasn't going to be the same.
I
I'll
just like
just smoke
sitting
in the
outside.
garage. Yeah. Hey, that is the move.
Mhm.
I agree with you there, but it's just when I was a single man, I used to be able to smoke in my place by myself without offending anybody. I miss that. It's been like 10 years.
Well, I don't know. That's not recommended because you'll get, it's just too much around you. There's no airflow. You'll mess up your paint. It's no good.
Oh,
You'll
you
mess up your
did.
furniture.
You
don't want to.
That cigar smoke was heavy, sir.
You don't want to do that inside.
Yeah. By the way, I agree with your version of Gnosticism.
Okay.
I don't know what people would subscribe me to be. I will say this: I don't fucking know. I'm not religious. I did the religious routes. I'm pretty Gnostic in that I just don't know the answers, man. I don't know. Whatever people want to believe, I can't disprove what you're saying.
There is a term for people who basically aren't interested in thinking about it too hard and just don't want to spend any time on it, called agnostic, because you're kind of ignoring the
I'm definitely
situation.
not agnostic. I'm just acknowledging that there's never going to be a definitive answer to my questions.
hmm
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, in that way, I proceed in the
Mhm.
universe. Let us
Yeah.
get into this last hypothetical. So this is a rather short one. Let me share my screen. Oh, it's already on the screen. Okay, so my husband and I come from a Catholic backgrounds. I also have a Catholic background. Do you have a background, Bruce?
Well, my grandparents were, I would call it social Episcopalian.
Oh, did y'all like handle snakes and stuff?
No, not like Southern Baptist or something. No, this is
That is Southern Baptist, isn't it?
Episcopalian is like, it's like diet Catholic light, 2 calories, like you have a fancy ceremony in the church where they read all this stuff, but they're not very judgmental and they don't have a lot of rules.
Fair
And
enough.
when I say they were social Episcopalian, it was like because every Sunday they would go see all their friends and then they would all go out to brunch. And so it was less about the mechanics and more about the social aspects.
I got you. I'm with that.
Yeah.
So I told you on the last stream that I used to be a part of a part of a church, And I told you I got kicked out of that church, and you're like, of course you did. I don't know what that church would have been considered. They called it non-denominational at the time. It was a Christian church. It was called the International Churches of Christ. Back in the 90s, they were prosecuted by the FBI for being a legitimate cult for financial purposes. They were trying to steal money from their congregation. The reason that I got kicked out was because I refused, because they wanted me to be like a tax collector. Like, hey, because I was in leadership, and like you would have like 25 people in your group, and you had to keep track of what their tithe would be and whether or not they gave their tithe on Wednesday or they didn't. And if they didn't, then you had to like try to collect from them double the next week.
Oh, geez.
Like, what are you talking about? That's not even, what am I doing here? Like, what, from college students? Like, you want me to go mow lawns? Like, what are we doing? And that, like, they would like come down on me so hard for not collecting it. They were so financially driven. I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to like force my college students to give money that they don't have. And then they're like, you're being rebellious, and we're going to kick you out of the church. Well, fuck it, I quit. Technically, I was not kicked out. Technically, I quit. But that's the story behind that. It's a conversation for another day. Anyway, so this person wants to know, am I the asshole for telling my husband that if he doesn't rejoin the church, then that is grounds for divorce? My initial thoughts on that is, look, if you marry into a church, if you marry into a religion, that is one thing. Like, for example, the Mormon religion, they have very strict rules, very specific rules on how to conduct marriage, how to conduct relationships. In some ways, it's illegal. In other ways, in mainstream Mormonology, they don't subscribe to that kind of thing. I'm talking about like having multiple wives.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
Polygamy. But mainstream Mormons don't subscribe to that.
Sure.
But, you know, but it is 100% a thing. If you get married into the Mormon religion, that you will have certain rules that you go to abide by. Same thing with Catholics, same thing with Christians. And so there is a theory. It's not even a theory. It's straight out written in the Bible, specifically in the New Testament. Don't test me about where it is, but it talks about being unequally yoked. If you don't have the same beliefs as your partner and you're trying to get married, it's a bad idea, because you're not going to be committed to the church in the way that you need to be committed to the church. And that was a theory that was propounded a couple thousand years ago at the time that the New Testament was written, and all of those things. Whatever to that. So this lady is operating under the auspice that her and her husband come from Catholic backgrounds. I happen to know that Catholics are pretty strict as it comes to membership, as to the procedure of how to be an upstanding Catholic. For example, when I go to a Catholic church, I can never accept their communion because I didn't get my first catechism and all of that, and go through their procedural grounds.
I think it's confirmation,
Confirmation, whatever. Yeah, exactly. So when I go up to the priest, I got to like cross my arms. I know this because my grandmother's funeral, she was very heavily Catholic. I used to go to Catholic church with her, but I never went to my catechism classes. And so when I go up for communion, I got to cross my arms as a symbol as I'm not one of you. And they give me like a blessing on my forehead, as opposed to the body and the blood of Christ. Right. So that is where we're coming from. That's the context. Let us get into the hypo. So my husband and I come from Catholic backgrounds. We got married at the Catholic church. However, a few years ago, my husband lost his faith due to a traumatic incident. He now considers himself to be agnostic. And to be fair, agnostic is not passing judgment on religion. Agnostic is not passing judgment on those who believe in a deity. It's just exclaiming that I have no way of knowing. I just don't know. And so I don't want to say one way or another. I need more information. And then Catholics and or Christian and or whatever offshoot you want to describe, or whatever religion you want to describe, will say that, well, there are truths to that and you just don't know, and you need to know this and you need to know that. And agnostic will say, what do you want me to do with that? There's no definitive proof either way, right? So I have been waiting and waiting for him to change, but now it doesn't seem like he's ever going back. I told him that right now our house is divided. I am trying to raise our children to follow Christ, and it's hard doing that when they have a parent that doesn't attend church. So I told him that if he doesn't eventually rejoin the church, then we are over. That's an interesting position to take. One of my clients happens to be an active Mormon. His wife filed for divorce, but she will never go through with the divorce because of her religious standing in the Mormon church that she attends. Which means that she's doing all these things. She kicked him out of the house. They have custody and visitation agreements, but he's not concerned about her ever actually forcibly getting divorced because of their religious standing in the church.
So they're just separated.
Basically. Mind you, she has not filed for divorce. And so it holds a lot of weight, this position. So she says, I married a Catholic man. That is not the man I vowed to spend the rest of my life with. He's a different person now. So this goes back to when you get married. Bruce, have you ever been married?
Yes.
Tell me about your story about when you were married.
What about it?
Not the whole story. Just give me like the statistics.
The statistics?
Like you were married at what age, you were divorced at what age, and so on.
Oh, yeah. That's a good question. I must have gotten married in around 2000, 2001 time frame.
All right.
Stayed married for quite a while until about 2016.
Good for you. That's a 15-year marriage. That is a long-term marriage, sir.
Might have been 16 then.
Yeah, alimony, child support, all of those things.
8 years. No kids. No kids.
Is Oregon a no-fault state?
Yeah.
Do they have alimony rules whereby if you're married for over 10 years that you're subjected to lifetime alimony?
No. It's they basically do 50%.
Really?
Yeah.
So basically you're paying alimony for half the length of the marriage?
Yes.
Gotcha. Good for you, man.
And then they do all this math on things like 401ks and stocks and all that. And there's special rules and formulas.
The way we handle that in California is called a quadro. Basically,
the quadro, because a third party had to go do the 401k.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, so my point is that
shout out to my lawyer.
There you go.
Grant.
So you got married in 2001. You're 49 now. That would put you at how old were you when you got married? Like 25?
26.
26. I got married when I
Well,
was
25 or
23.
26, yeah.
Yeah.
Too young.
Too young. And so the point when you get married that young, inevitably the people that you marry are going to change. I
Yes.
feel like it's inevitable.
Yes.
You might have gotten married because you met in like the youth group, like the teen ministry youth group or whatever. And now the guy's grown up a little bit and he sees his worldview has changed and his opinions about the Catholic Church or whatever church has changed. And he no longer subscribes to the Old Testament King James version of the Bible as absolute truth. Maybe there's other versions of the truth. Maybe I should see. And now he's an agnostic. And so if one person wants to hold steadfast to their beliefs and the other does not, in the Christian religion and the Catholic religion and whatever religion subscribes to the New Testament, they would be described or defined as unequally yoked, as in there is no way that they can logically go through with a valid marriage that is going to work out with this mismatch in beliefs is basically what it means. So,
Well, it depends. If you have two people who have different belief systems and they can make it work. Like, for example, she does not like it that he does not go to this church.
Yeah.
If she didn't care whether he went to the church or not, then maybe things would be okay. So it kind of depends on what people are okay with on a case by case basis.
Well, what about during Christmas? So one guy subscribes, or she subscribes to Catholicism.
Mhm.
He subscribes to agnosticism.
Okay.
Her beliefs are steadfast into the Catholic Christian doctrine that Christ's birthday is around Christmas and we should celebrate in such a way. And then the guy's hellbent and is like, well, actually, there's these other theories and opinions that I want you to tell you about. That's obviously going to rub her the wrong way. And so how do you navigate that if you want to remain in a marriage?
Yeah. It depends on how much they care. Again, if somebody is religious and they're doing it because they like the ceremony and they like the ideas and it's important to them, and the other partner doesn't want to do any of that, then maybe they can make it work. Whereas if they're contentiously arguing about these details all the time, or they want someone else to do something, then that's where you're going to have these problems.
I guess my experience with this would be this. Typically, when young men or women subscribe to one set of beliefs, and then later on in their young adulthood, they modify their beliefs, they're never going back. They're never going back.
Mhm.
There was a time in your life where you used to believe that Santa Claus existed. And then through life experience, you realized that that wasn't a real thing. That was manufactured. There is no amount of conversation that, I mean, I know that's
There's
kind
no
of an
guarantee
extreme
for
example.
sure. I mean, he may go in a completely different direction, you know.
He might have like a come to Jesus moment where it's like a,
But
I don't know,
he
life
might
and
go
death
in a
experience.
completely different direction. Like he may become a Buddhist or something. Like you just don't know.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's funny. A lot of Catholics, Christians that defect from the church, oftentimes stream to Western philosophy theories of Buddhism in the Alan Watts category, which is extreme agnosticism, which is I really don't know shit. I really know nothing, you know. And they start having these thoughts about. You have this God who has a white beard and he's a guy and he's like a lording over the heavens and the earth. And like, how do you know he's not this and that? And like, you know, these very Alan Watts theories of religion. You're never going to reconcile that with old school Catholicism or old school Christianity, no matter what denomination it is. And so you're going to have to, if you want to stay in that marriage, reconcile the two. How are you going to do that? The only way to do that is by not making it a point of contention. If it's this constant source of conflict, there's no resolving that. How do you convince an agnostic to believe in God? How do you convince an atheist to believe in God? How do you convince it in the opposite direction? How do you tell a Catholic that God isn't real? They've been trained that, look, I'm supposed to have faith. I'm not supposed to have all the answers. I'm supposed to have faith. And for an agnostic, it's like, prove to me that God exists. There is no proof, man. We don't know shit about the universe. There's 4 or 5, 6 dimensions. We're talking about a universe that spans 13.5 billion years. Well, that's the lifespan of our solar system, but the entire universe is how old and spans how many light years? We don't know shit about the universe. We really don't. Ask Neil deGrasse Tyson, Stephen Hawking, who's since passed away. What are the secrets of the universe? They couldn't tell you, man. It's a big fucking place. You're not going to convince anybody other. If you're looking for definitive proof of God, there isn't any.
Yeah. There's a lot of questions, and questions are good. And saying I don't know is good because then you can say, what can I learn next? Or what experiment can I do to learn something new? So it's a good thing to ask questions.
The problem with people that put their faith in religion is that they're offended by questions. If you're offended by questions and intellectual curiosity, it's never going to work out with an agnostic.
Maybe.
And so you have to.
The vibe I get from this post is more that, you know, this woman had a partner that used to do certain things that they did together and behave a certain way. And now he's not doing those things. Even though he's doing nothing wrong, he's just, you know, okay, it's Sunday. I'm going to sit at home and do the laundry. She has an expectation on him to be doing something different. And now he's not doing that. And that's where this stress is coming from.
let me put you in his shoes. So let's just imagine that this guy was a Catholic all his life.
Mm-hmm.
He has some life experience that has led him to believe that God doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that he's gone through a severe mental trauma into coming to this realization that God is not listening.
Mm-hmm.
The chances that you're going to break that guy out of that trauma are slim to none. So it's either accept him as he is or is becoming, or not at all.
Yeah.
And that's very difficult for somebody that has faith to accomplish. How do you do that, man? Like if you're the pastor of a church and your wife loses faith, what do you do?
Yeah. I mean, it's like you mentioned before, right? It doesn't have to be religion. It could be anything where people change and suddenly the person you married is a very different person. Like
Which happens.
Maybe they started doing drugs and you're like, I don't recognize this person anymore. Maybe they used to have a hobby you enjoyed together and now you don't do it. And you're like, well, what happened to that?
Do you know where that happens the most often? When people get married under the age of 27.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes who we are at 21, 23 years old, it's not who we are at 44.
Correct.
Did you remember back to when you were 23? You remember how dumb you were? I remember how dumb I was.
Well, I was going with the 16-year-old kid. I was like, 16-year-old kids are totally stupid.
100%. They're dumbasses. They don't know anything.
Yeah.
You're going to like put any stock in what they're saying?
So,
Come on, man.
23 is not that far off from that.
Yeah, it really isn't, man. 27, honestly, I feel like they say that science says that your brain stops developing or is fully formed at 27. I feel like you need a good couple years with your fully developed brain to know who you truly are. That means like 29, 30.
Yeah,
honestly.
for sure. 30 years old, yeah.
If you meet somebody sub 27, 28, 29, then you are gambling that the person that you meet is going to be who they're going to be later. Which is why I always say that, hey, in your 20s, get it out of your system, man. Like, go sow your wild oats, do the slump buster thing, go experiment, go do all of the things, get it out of your system because
Salsa dance with Fabio.
Salsa dance with Fabio. Go grind on P. Diddy if you want to, man.
With
his baby oil.
Oh no.
Yeah, but get it out of your system. Like experiment, do all of the things. I tell Dominic, dude, you're like 26. Do you know how lucky you are to be 26 years old? You know how many people to change. What are you doing trying to settle down right now? Get it all out of your system.
What is it? Youth is wasted on the young.
Oh, it sure is. Man, if I could be a teenager with my 44-year-old brain, I mean, it'd just be so unfair.
Way less back pain.
Yeah, but then I wonder, I think about this, like, would I even be attracted to like 15-year-olds if I was like, never mind. It's like, it's just I would not. I would just, I question the things that we question ourselves about is my point.
Yeah.
Anyway, for this young lady that is seeking advice, do not count on your husband ever reverting to who he was when you met him. That is over. He has become something different. And the thought that you might be able to get him to revert back is not realistic. And so she has a couple of options. She can either ride the wave and see where it goes, or she could stand steadfast to her Catholic beliefs and penalize him for his disbelief and divorce him. Those are her two options.
Yeah. I mean, the more conditional requirements she puts on him or vice versa, the more likely it is that this will not work out.
Yes. I agree with that. Saltina Winchito. What a name, man. Where does that name come from? Winchito? Does that mean something?
I don't know.
I'm gonna Google it. What is Winchito? Based on the provided search results, Winchito appears to be a music artist with an active presence on several social media platforms such as SoundCloud, Facebook, YouTube. All right. Gotcha. She says, imagine some guy saying he was raised a Yankees fan and he wanted to raise his boys to be Yankees fans, but his wife won't come to the games with them. Well, that's already my life. So
that could be okay. I mean, a baseball game is like, the dad can take the kids to the baseball game.
Yes.
And the dad's probably not going to be super concerned that the wife is not going to the baseball game because they probably do other things together as a family.
True. And generally the wife takes whatever team your husband subscribes to. They generally
I don't know about that
team. Well, I could tell you that there was no chance that my daughters were ever going to be anything other than Dodgers, Lakers, and Raiders fans, or you're out of the family. It's just how it is. It's just, hey, you want to root for the Bengals? I will send you to live with your cousin. How about that? Not really, but I've never gotten any pushback for it. My wife used to be a Clippers fan. She's a Lakers fan because I'm a Lakers fan, but not really because I'd imagine if they were playing each other, they'd, she'd go back to old habits. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Stephanie B says, the thing I regret in my early 20s is the large payday bar tabs.
Oh my.
I wouldn't regret that for a second. Why would you regret that? That's the good stuff. Those are experiences that you're never going to get again, man. Enjoy yourself. You want to spend your paycheck on whiskey and booze, and I was going to say whiskey and whores. I guess I just did say it. If you want to spend your paycheck on whatever it is, go for it, Stephanie. There's no regrets.
Oh,
there's
boy.
no regrets.
I will say max out your 401k first, then go to the bar.
When you're in your 20s, because it's worth a lot more in your 40s.
Yeah, it's way better to start that in your 20s.
Yes, but at some point you got to become an adult, and when you do, there's really no going back. So stretch it out as long as you can, man. Life is short. Life is short. Saltino Wenchito says it's a tiny Latina salty wench. The fuck are we talking about? Describing my wife.
The name, she's a tiny Latina salty wench.
Oh, I was going to say that
this could be your wife on an alt account.
That perfectly describes my wife. She is a Latina salty wench.
Amazing.
I oftentimes tell my wife, wench, I require a ham sandwich.
Oh, jeez.
Get on it.
Oh, dear.
I'm totally kidding. All right, folks. What is even the verdict with this? What are we doing with this? Is she the asshole? No, you're not an asshole. Look, if you want to divorce him for not being a hardcore Catholic, that's your business. I'm not going to judge you for that.
Well, she's made an ultimatum. What do you think about that? She says he has to rejoin the church or they're over.
Well, I guess that's her right. If she requires this guy to be a hardcore Catholic, he's never going to be that.
Mm-hmm.
If she wants to stay close-minded to his beliefs, then you know what? It's for the best. Might as well get divorced now as opposed to 20 years from now when you guys have built a whole entire life together. That is incongruous.
Yeah.
So, whatever reason
I don't think
you
it's
want to
full asshole, but like it's almost like she's like, oh, I'm disappointed because I married an attribute. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
yeah, I mean, I can't judge her for her reasons. Her reasons are hers.
Mm-hmm.
But she can't expect this guy to change on account of her, man. If she really needs a hardcore Catholic, number one, good luck in finding that. I mean, the effing Pope is over here.
Well, it depends on where they live, but yeah.
I was going to go a lot darker than that because it's like the Cardinal, the whole LA Cardinal scandal with the child molesting and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's married to the Cardinal of the LA Church. And finds out that he's molesting 12-year-old boys. Now what? Now what? I don't even want to touch that, even though I've already opined on it. I'm just saying, if it's that,
I don't think that changes the fact that depending on where you live, you can find a Catholic church wherever you like.
100% you can.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I'm just saying, if she requires a stout Catholic husband, good luck with that. You already have a guy that is invested in you.
Mm-hmm.
If the grounds for divorce is he hasn't had a change in beliefs through either intellectual curiosity or whatever else, That is your prerogative.
Mm-hmm.
I can't make that call for her. Is it grounds for divorce? I don't personally think it is. I think if you're going to marry somebody, you got to marry their intellectual progressions as well. Unless it becomes like, freaking weird. Like they turn into like straight up, like, I don't know. Like they want to like join some kind of religious cult in the future or become whatever, indulge in crimes, whatever your pleasure. If it's just their intellectual curiosity that you can't take because you have made up your mind and you don't want to share in their thought processes, then if you want to get divorced now, I guess better now than never, or better now than later is what I'm trying to say. Because you're going to wake up tomorrow. You're going to be 50 years old. You'll have been married for 30 years to a man that you never wanted to be married to because of his religious affiliation not matching yours. If that's really that important to you, then divorce him now. Or suffer the consequences later, is what I would say. I guess the overarching principle in all of that is be very cautious in who you marry and make sure that they are fully formed before you actually decide to marry them. Which is to say, do not get married before the age of 27. I would even raise it to 30. What say you to that, Bruce?
I think that's good general guidelines. In this
Very
specific
general.
story, we don't know how old these people are.
They
So
never
we don't know
said.
when his change occurred. It could have they could be 40 and he could have had this traumatic accident.
That's true. I'm totally assuming that these people are in their 20s just because of the way that she's worded this.
Yeah,
I could be
I mean
wrong.
they mentioned children, so presumably they're not super old, or they'd have adult children or something like that.
Well, I mean,
don't
my
know.
parents had me when they were 16, so that could mean it.
Yeah, we don't know.
What say you to that?
Yeah, we don't know.
I'm just saying, look, you want to divorce them, just do it now. Do it now and don't cry about it. You really want to start a new life? That means you're going to have to divide all of your assets, whatever that is, sell the house and split the proceeds. You're going to have to figure out a custody and visitation plan. That's going to be a big pain in the ass. You're going to rip apart your entire life for the sake of your religious beliefs. I can't tell you that you're right or wrong. If you want to do it, then do it now. Because it's going to be much worse if you do it 20 years from now is all I'm saying. So that's, I guess I'm not going to call her the asshole. I'm just going to say do it or shut the fuck up, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't know. What do you think, Bruce?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I don't know what sort of advice she is looking for here.
The Gorlith says, doesn't Catholicism still have issues? Yeah, they do. They do. 100% they do. At the same time, they frown upon Catholics marrying non-Catholics. How do you litigate that? I don't have to know. I'm not a priest. So that is an issue for her to deal with. Liz says divorce is frowned upon. You won't ever be able to get remarried in the Catholic Church. Oh, I disagree with that. I know several family members who have been divorced and remarried in the Catholic Church. I think that the Catholic Church is more flexible on that issue than you remember. It's a lot more accepting than it used to be, say, in the 80s. But what do I know? That's all I got to say about that. I'm going to be wrapping up Vlad for tonight. What have you to say about all of your potential suitors, Bruce? Is your antlers on the ready?
I'll be at the tap house tonight.
There are people that got crushes on you, man.
Oh my.
Like 6'2", 160, huh? And he's got a voice that belongs on audiobooks. Oh, let him make an audible, I will listen to that shit and fall asleep to it. There are people looking for dates with you. I think you should appease them in some way. Tell them how to get a hold of you. What's your Tinder account?
What? I don't have that. I don't know. I'm in Oregon.
I'm totally fucking with you, man. I know.
I'll be at the tap house tonight. I don't know.
You'll be at the tap house tonight. You could also find him on Mormons.com.
No.
Bruce is not Mormon. He's totally not.
No, I'd have to get that special underwear. I don't want to.
What special underwear is that? What are you talking?
They have the garments, the Mormon garments.
They do?
Yeah.
Like a kilt?
No, it's like special long underwear.
Oh yeah. I did see that in the child molestation documentary that came out on Netflix, like a couple years ago.
I don't know.
Bruce is not molesting anybody. He will be at the Tap House tonight in Oregon.
Yeah.
You'll do well to make your way over there. Make sure you come fully lubricated because he has his antlers on the ready. Whatever the fuck that means.
All great art, it's open to interpretation.
Yes, sir. It was good talking to you. Thanks for joining the show, man.
Thanks.
Hey, by the way, if you haven't already visited Bruce's channel, he has a separate YouTube channel where he covers all things. Well, when he's not covering Laura Owens, what are you covering, Bruce?
So I have a couple playlists. I have a playlist about management fundamentals that I'm working on. I have a playlist where I play some video games. I have a playlist where we go over David Gingras on Twitter. And I have a playlist where I talk about Mary Lankins, who is a baby boomer who discovered the Clayton Echard, Laura Owens case. And I read her Facebook posts. I have different playlists that are tuned to whatever you might be interested in.
I would just say this, that Bruce is a rising star in the YouTube community. And he's been around, I mean, as long as I've been around, at least. I haven't been around that long, but he's been around as long as I've been along. And he's got his own channel. He's growing. Go visit and watch his videos and subscribe to his channel. Jules is requesting to get nude.
Oh, boy.
She's down and ready. So,
do we have to fight off some muggers in the parking lot?
You may. You're going to have to... You're going to have to use your alpha maledom to ward people off attackers or what may.
I'm going to start screaming like a schnitzel.
Is it bad that I don't know who Mary Lankins is? Who's Mary Lankins?
Mary Lankins is a baby boomer who discovered the Laura Owens Clayton Echard case because she was a fan of Ron Owens from his radio days in San Francisco.
She is the originator. She like ground zero for the Clayton Echard case?
No. I mean, well, so when there were posts on Laura's dad's Facebook page had posts to her blogs. And so Mary was like, what is going on with these stories, and asking questions. And it just sort of snowballed from there.
The Crow just subscribed to Bruce. And by the way, Jules says that Bruce, Jules will protect you. She says, I'll fight Bruce. Don't worry.
I won't turn down a bodyguard.
All right, folks. It's been fun, man. I love you all. I want you all to have a wonderful weekend. Be safe out there. And we'll catch you all next time. Bye-bye.